Yes. Um, Rebel.
A little chilly in here. And I'm kind of hungry. I want a snack. I'm a snacker.
Yeah, I don't have any of that in here. Aco. Oh shit, we're back live. I didn't realize it just now. Aco. That's obviously somebody from Alpha Company 15. Is that you, Joiner? All right. All right. We do have some people. I'm eating my bowl of nuts. That's an infantry thing, I'm sure. Oh, okay. I see it. It's and so hey, we're gonna. There's six people watching on three different deals. We're gonna go live like in 5 minutes. Lauren and I are compiling our notes. She's been compiling her notes, and I've been trying to get this shit going. So I'm going to just leave it on and go back to some of the things that we wanted to talk. Lauren, you can jump in and say anything you want, or we can stay silent and listen to Pink Floyd. No, we can't do that. I don't know if that's like we can do that. I'll listen to Pink Floyd. I don't know
It's
if I
not
can stream
allowed
that.
on YouTube or what?
Yeah, I think you got to be like a famous person and then get all the licenses and shit, and
Hmm. I ain't doing all that.
you know, like my card will probably decline if I tried. No homework today. Yeah, no, you got to get licensing and stuff or permission. And there's a way, like with my buddy Randall, he has a couple songs he wants me to play on here at some point on this or my other podcast. Like I don't have to have any permission from anyone. He's independent and he gave it to me.
Yeah. He's the one that you. We're telling
Yeah,
people.
yeah, he's at one song. I know you haven't got to it, but one day. All right. Gilmore, what's up, brother? It's good to see you, man. Mm. Got a few minutes before we go live here. Maggie's on.
Aggie, what up? We're glad you're here.
I got your message, Maggie. Thanks for messaging me, and it's good meeting you. Glad to see you're surviving the civilian life and thriving. Barely, dude. God
Where are you
damn.
seeing this?
On my Facebook page. So I also hooked up my Facebook page because I got since we can't put it on the regular one yet. Uh,
Okay,
but
well, you're gonna have to like read questions and stuff out because I
you
can't
can't
see.
on your far right. You don't see where it says people chat brand text. You don't see none of that.
I see people in chat,
Okay, click
but
chat.
yeah, but when oh,
Do you see
there's
them?
like several options. Okay, there we
Maggie just said
go.
hi, glad to be here. So do you see those messages yet? Let me
Uh,
close.
I'm
So you
reading
need to
through
go
them really quickly.
to the top one, live stream chat. There's one that says just studio chat.
I
That's
see
you
it.
and
I see
me.
it. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's why I
Okay.
was confused because there's like three different options, and I was like, wait a minute.
Okay. So you can read the chats. You can
I
see
can see it
Maggie's
now.
last
Yeah.
message. Okay, cool.
Hi.
So that's cool. So that's gonna come through Facebook, Twitch, YouTube,
All the
Ma-
messages.
and Maggie's
Oh,
dad.
Maggie's dad is here. Hi. Thank you for joining.
All right. I am. It is 8:30. I'm going to put my dog in the next room. Screen will be off for a second.
I don't have another room to put my dog in, so if he starts barking or anything, I apologize in advance. Thinks he's a little guard dog boy. Y'all want to see him? Y'all want to see my dog? While we wait, I'll show him off to you. Hi, bud. You want to come say hello to everyone? Oh, come here. This is Cooper. Say hi, guys. I'm the man of the house. I protect my mama.
I'm here.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I was just introducing my dog. He wants to be
uh,
famous too.
okay. Well, it's 8:33. How do you feel? You ready?
Me? I mean, as ready as I'm probably gonna be. So,
Okay. Do you need a few more minutes, or
no,
I need
no,
a?
let's do it. Let's
Okay.
go for it.
Let's just do it. I'm not really prepared because I was trying to make sure. I was more worried about making sure this works, and it looks good. We got people watching. Um, this is our second episode. First episode will be probably up by in the morning. I have it all pieced up and into the platform I used to shoot it out to all everything. It just takes some time. There is a delay for the first episode. I've done this before with another two different podcasts, but so I it's just gonna take time. Once it's the first time it goes out, all the platforms will be sent to me, and I'll be able to push them out, and it'll be on everything. So right now we just made it easy. YouTube, my personal Facebook, and Twitch, and then Riverside, which somehow somebody's on Riverside and they weren't. I didn't send out that link, or maybe I did. But anyways, my camera's off just for a second. My name's Flip. I am here in San Antonio, Texas. I'm with my good friend Lauren Taylor, who's in California. I think we can do a kind of a quick introduction again of who we are, since this is our second episode. Lauren, go ahead if you want to.
Uh, okay. Well, oh, I wasn't prepared for
I
that.
wasn't either, so I just threw that in there for us because I figured it's a new audience, and
Yeah, yeah. I'm Lauren. Flip and I know each other from serving in the army together. Way back when we were kids, so long ago. A lot has happened since then. Neither of us are really into politics much until Trump got into politics. At least for me, that was kind of the case. And so I've been kind of following along and trying to stay up to date with everything that's going on because it's just like one crazy thing after another. So I am liberal leaning. I don't necessarily identify with as a Democrat, but I, especially at this point in time, am definitely much far left compared to probably a lot of this audience. So, with that, let me just say that sometimes I can be very blunt and a little unapologetic, and there will be times that I will be sharing some uncomfortable truths that maybe some of you don't want to hear or aren't prepared to hear. So, just a little heads up on that. But otherwise, I'm pretty easygoing.
yeah, yeah, awesome. I'm Flip for I think most of you because I posted this on my Facebook page. Know who I am, but yeah, Lauren and I knew each other back in 2007, deployed together, and then have been talking about these things for the last. We've been sharing concerns for the last good year or so, but more recently in the last few months, we've been having kind of these conversations that I think needed to be had, and now obviously need to be addressed and talked about more, other than in secret, and kind of trying to figure it out because I think it doesn't matter who you are, who you voted for, or I mean, dude, there's something weird going on And if you think everything's fine at the moment, if you think that the president's telling you the truth, and if you believe everything he says, and if you believe everything that's just going on about all these secret things that have always happened in this country, then this is not for you. Um, we're not. We do dabble in a lot of conspiracy theory stuff, but we are also sort of level headed, I guess, as much as you can be at 40 years old in this generation with the knowledge that we've literally been given to us, and now with new curiosity where we've gone out and try to figure things out on our own. So, with that being said, we both have thoughts about things that are going on. If you didn't listen yesterday, we were going to get on, and unfortunately we didn't get to, but we were eventually going to, essentially going to do a welcome or a introductory episode where we talk about myself and Lauren and kind of what we're wanting to do here. But as soon as Charlie Kirk, the news about Charlie Kirk's assassination, we immediately decided that we had to get on live, and we did. And we've had some feedback about that, and we just feel that we need to get on here as often as possible. So, Lauren, there's a lot that's happened since the last time we were on. We were on 48 hours ago. And at that point, we knew that Charlie Kirk had been shot, and then we'd find out that he was killed. And at that time, there was very little information on the killer. And it wasn't till the next morning, or I guess it was this morning,
It
right,
was
when they
this
found him.
morning. Yeah.
So
Well, they
since
didn't
then,
find him.
well, they didn't find him. We'll get to that. But so since we got our initial reactions on that, what do you think? What do you think now? What do you think about the situation?
Me? I
Yeah.
guess I'm the one here. Um, I don't know. It's really interesting because when I first saw the video, um, I actually watched it like over and over several times, trying to see exactly like where did it hit him. Because I think I mentioned this the other day. I thought there were two shots. Everyone else is saying one. So, but yeah, I just knew there was no way he was surviving that. And so, we were trying to follow it, figure out what's going on. But from seeing that shot, I was like, that was a really good shot. There's no way that there's some like amateur out here just like getting lucky. And so for me, I'm thinking like, okay, this is professional. This is a professional hit because this is like too good, right? And then we start getting into these kind of conspiracy theories about Israel and could they have done it? And then I saw some videos circulating about the potential of there being some like guys in the crowd who were like giving little signals and things. So lots of speculation going on the internet. Also, Donald Trump pushing before we even knew anything that it was a radical leftist and kind of ignited all of the base to essentially just go out and start threatening all this violence towards the Democrats because it had to be them. So then fast forward to this morning, and we learned that it's a 22-year-old kid who was turned in by his father, who used to be a cop. And guess what? He's not a Democrat. He's white, Mormon, raised in a religious household, raised with, guns. And, basically the base. Like a typical person for the base. He was a Trump fan. He was Trump for Halloween, like in 2017. So I don't know if this is true, but I read somewhere that he wanted to kill Charlie Kirk because he wasn't extreme enough, which to me is like really crazy. Um, and so now it leaves me kind of questioning, um, like, is this real? I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely very funny, and one of the things that I've gotten a lot of pushback on, and we talked about it earlier. You said he's Republican, and I that's what I've read.
Well,
That's what I read.
he's not registered
He's right. He's
with
not
to any
registered.
party. I mean,
Right,
he's
but
registered but not affiliated with a party,
yeah, and both
but
of his
was
parents are
raised.
Republican. His
Yeah.
his father was a
Hmm.
police officer. I don't think he officially um, did, but there are things leaning towards that. I don't. One of the things that I talked about, and I want to make sure I do the right. The Wall Street Journal immediately said that trans ideology were marking on the bullets, like right off the bat, because of other instances that have happened, and
No,
that was
it was the brand of the bullet, and
right,
it was the initials TRN, and someone
right,
just made a an assumption
yeah,
and put out false news. And here's the problem is like once you put it out there, like it's out there, you can come back later and say, okay, no, that's not what it was. Like it was, there was ideological stuff on here. Like you can't, sadly, like once Trump says something or once the right says something, it's like that's it. Regardless, like that's the bottom line, no matter what else, evidence or fact or whatever is available.
yeah, yeah, and I don't like arguing old presidents. That's why people are like, why don't you talk shit about Biden for doing this or for Obama for like, well, because that shit's old. Like
It's
I'm
not
I'm not
relevant
worried about
at this
that. And then to
moment.
be honest, I mean, to be honest, everyone knows that I didn't give a shit about things back then, and why am I going to
Well,
cry about that shit? But I do see that being on both sides of the deal. I think it's just very easy to, because one side is the other's enemy, and the left and the right, they we don't. It's not, back when I was growing up. It was kind of a funny thing watching people run around being red and blue, and now it's people hate each other. People beat the shit out of each other for it, or you know it, bully each other, cyberbully. I mean, we live in a different world where the your different ideology, you become a Republican, you become a Democrat. You don't just believe it; that's what you become, and the other person is your enemy. So you immediately hate them, and it's crazy that I say that, because I don't think I'm left leaning very much on anything. But I was very far right for a long time, and now I see things differently, and I can say that both sides do that. But right now, yeah, you're right. We can talk about what I definitely agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that right now, with the current administration, Donald Trump, whatever he says, it's just go. Same thing with just any leader, no matter what is. Let's take Patel and Bongino. They told us leading up to this whole presidency that that Epstein didn't kill himself, and that there was a list, and that the FBI had seen it, and blah blah blah, and all these things beforehand, and
they're
then
gonna
all of a
release the
sudden,
information and
yeah,
tell the
and then all
people
of
the
a sudden it's
truth.
not there, and we're supposed to believe them. So we got a deal
Sorry, I
here
was like
from.
reading
No,
some
you're fine. I'm gonna read
messages.
something from Joiner.
Really quickly, can I just
Yeah,
say
go ahead.
something?
Go ahead.
When people say, like, why didn't you criticize Biden or why didn't you criticize Obama? Well, first of all, maybe we did, maybe we didn't. How do you know? But secondly, Biden and Obama did not get us to where we are right now. They didn't do the types of things that Donald Trump does. They weren't like openly corrupt and literally, just getting rid of people because they don't say what he wants and hiring someone who will just, pour out the same rhetoric. So it's like apples to oranges. They don't equate because the political climate was not the same. And
I
I'm
read
not
I
saying
read
that either of them is perfect by any means. I
right.
didn't really want Biden to be president. I thought it was a better option than Trump, but
Yeah,
he didn't get us here.
right. No, I saw something today about kind of comparing how, like, let's just bring, for instance, I'm gonna tie that into this. Excuse me. I probably shouldn't have that energy drink just now, but somebody was saying how the address to the nation, not just the nation, but that's what it is, or press conference that Trump gave yesterday about this whole deal. How instead of, and we're gonna, I have it here. We can go over it here in a little bit. I'd like to read a little bit of it. Instead of trying to bring together the country, he fueled the fire by blaming Democrats and blaming the left. And I've seen a lot of pushback from both sides on that. How you know, after 9/11, even though we know it's a bunch of bullshit, Bush came out, you know, a couple times. You know, Obama, he, as much as he's hated, he really wasn't as hated as I think that Trump is being hated right now. Biden, I don't know what he did because I don't believe that he was really president. So I don't know. But even way, no one has
What do you
done.
mean you don't believe he was really president?
Well, this, especially this last time, this last few years that he was obviously sick. I don't think he was pulling. I don't think he was making decisions. I don't
Okay,
know
but
about this whole
do
auto
you
pain.
believe that he was elected as president?
I don't think that I think that all of these presidents, they're. I don't think that we elected them or that we put them in there. I think that we pushed our, you know, our rallies and enough, and they kind of know who. But ultimately, I don't think we put them in there.
So you're saying he's a puppet, but you're not.
I
Like, what I'm trying to find out is, do you think that the election was stolen and Trump was
No, so I
the
don't
rightful
believe that. I don't
winner?
believe that, and I'll tell you why I don't believe that. I did believe that for a long time. I have never seen proof, although I have never. I'll be honest, I've not looked into
There's
it
no
like
proof.
deeply, but I do remember when Joe Rogan asked him, and he said yes, the election was stolen, and he said, well, how do you know? And he just kept doing his what he calls whatever, and he never. I was like, man, if you would have just told me one fact, I wanted to believe it. I wanted to believe that was stolen, but give me one fucking fact. Don't give me this runaround answer. So no, I don't believe that. But I do believe that certain presidents. Let's talk about Trump, for instance. He's uh, supposed to be the anti-war, and that's what everyone that voted for him, or most people you know, wanted. And right now, he's not in control. He's clearly not in control of the wars that are going on. He has zero fucking control,
Well,
and
and
it's
I
just
think his whole anti-war is bullshit. You know, everything he ran on was bullshit, literally. And he
yeah.
just renamed the Department of Defense the Department of War. So how does
Whenever
the
you're supposed to be the
anti-war
yeah
candidate rename something back to the Department of War?
yeah.
Like, he's just full of shit. Literally everything he says is like the
I
opposite.
do. I agree there. I agree with you there. I don't trust anything he says anymore. But at the same time, I don't think I'll ever trust another politician, especially in the next 10, 15 years, because we know what's kind of coming. We
There's
know
a
what's kind of coming.
couple there's a couple that I could say, you know, maybe I could believe in them, but majority, yeah, they're bought and paid for.
Yeah. Yeah. And we talked about some, you know, I don't know how deep you looked into it. I know you like AOC, but this bill that she turned down that was about the Israel deals, and you said you're not about that. So I haven't looked much into that,
Neither
but
have I.
I feel that from what I've seen, things have changed from a few years ago with her. That because I was starting to kind of dig her too a bit, if I was going to go lean that way, but now this is like, okay, that's how much do they pay you? You know,
So I
and
saw her at a rally earlier this year. I want to say it was like March or April timeframe. And, you know, at that rally, she stated the same thing that she has stated over and over again, that she only accepts grassroots donations. She doesn't take money from big lobbyists and everything. So when you sent me that, and I was like, I don't know if I believe that. I did not look into it because there's been so much other stuff going on. I do want to look into it. If it comes out that she did take that money, like, I won't deny that if the, you know, the facts are there. But I don't, to me, what I know of her, I don't see that being the truth. But also,
Right.
Bernie didn't ever, he didn't come out for a long, long time and say anything. And I think she's kind of shadowing him, or he's like grooming her,
Yeah, I see that because if I remember correctly, he still hasn't said that what's going on in Gaza is a genocide. He's one of those that hasn't, right? Hasn't like said it.
He more recently has come out and said some things, but earlier this year we've talked about this. He had a rally and there were some people there that were protesting saying free Palestine, and he was like down on the floor and they were up, on the level above, and they were getting arrested or getting, taken out by
Hmm.
security, and he just was literally acting like they weren't even there and still trying to
Right.
like get the crowd, and that really pissed me off. I was like, that was like the perfect opportunity to use your platform and say something, and you just totally ignored it.
Yeah.
But more recently he has come out, I don't know if he has said it's a genocide, but he has come out kind of against it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's weird. I guess we'll talk about that later. But this light was kind of bothering me. It's in my face here. I don't even know why I have the fucking thing. Um, Yeah, so a good joiner again saying, well, Faxi was a puppet. Well, it was anti-war Biden opened the can of worms, and now he's trying to put a fire out, and Russia, Ukraine, and the rest of the UA are stirring the pot. Um, George Zinn, German Jewish origin, initial. Oh, okay. So Bob is talking about. Let's talk about what he said right now. He's saying, because yes, I'll put it up here so you can see it. Um, Well, it was anti-war Biden opened the can of worms. Now he is trying to put a fire out in Russia, Ukraine, and the rest of the UA are stirring the pot. Yeah, I haven't, honestly, I haven't kept too much track of it
I'm
recently.
sorry,
But
go ahead.
did you want to read it again, or did you? Were you asking about it?
I just was going to ask for clarification because I don't know what he means by Biden opened that can of worms.
Well, I want to say, and I'm not very well versed. I know kind of the gist of it. If I'm not wrong on this, Joiner, you can. I'm not the biggest Russia Ukraine. I do follow it. And a lot of people say, "Well, that's bad journalism." I just haven't. I know enough to read about it and to talk about it. But from what I know, is that the biggest deal here is that Putin did. I mean, that Putin didn't want the UN near their borders in Ukraine, and Biden kind of opened up that can of worms, and that's why
What
the
in
war
what
started.
regard? Like, what do you mean he opened up a can of worms? That Biden opened up a can of worms? Because I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, it was Biden who. Let me look the facts up on this, but I think it was Biden that.
Because there were things going on between Ukraine and Russia prior to that. And then
Yeah,
Russia
but what
invaded
started the war?
Ukraine even though they had an agreement.
Why did they invade? So that's the one
Because
that's
they
the
want the
thing.
territory. Because Putin wants the territory. He's a dictator, and he just like, why is Israel doing what they're doing in Gaza? They want the land. They want the power. So
Direct certain
disgusting.
assistance to Ukraine using armament and funds allocated in Congress was fund to draw down your authority of USA. Okay, okay. So like I said, I don't know a whole lot about it. I know that the narrative that I see, the reason I don't want to say a whole bunch of it, I know the kind of right wing, and that's that we threatened to put the UN on their border, and Russia didn't like that, and that's the fight that I've always heard. People would always say, I'm sure, you know, would you want China putting a base on the Mexican border? Watching us, and obviously we wouldn't. So I don't know too much about the Russia war, but
In
here he
regard
starts
to
talking
that,
about,
the United States has military facilities, bases in like every country in the world.
yeah,
No other country has that.
yeah,
Just
that's yeah, we are occupying a bunch of
I'm just saying in
places.
regard to like if if China is on the US border, would we want that? Well, we are that to so many other
Yeah, we're
countries.
everywhere. We're
Yeah.
we're we're everywhere. I mean, we were just in Qatar, and Qatar just got bombed, and that's a whole deal. We have bases there. I've been to Qatar. I've stopped Qatar on the way back of one or two of my deployments. I don't remember which one.
I've yeah.
I don't know. I think it was. I don't know if we all stopped by there. I don't remember. I know we stopped in Kuwait, but
I
I know
thought
I
it was
stopped.
a routine stop, like on the way in and out.
We might have. I don't remember. I know there's a few places that I've only stopped once. As I did 3 deployments, so I have six plus my
Yeah.
leaves and all that. I know at one point I stopped in there maybe a second time. I don't know. Maybe I stopped in there all the time. I don't remember. It's fucking so long ago, dude.
I know.
My first deployment was '06 and we're in '05.
Say
So, or
that
my first
again.
deployment
What'd you
was
say?
'07. My first deployment was '07 because I mentioned '07.
Oh,
Uh, p-
yeah, but we didn't deploy until
right.
2008.
So, but I deployed. Remember, I took off to Anchorage, deployed with those guys, came back, and then deployed with
Oh,
y'all right
I forgot
after.
about that.
Um, yeah. So, yeah, you and I met before they asked if a bunch of us wanted to be fucking stupid, and they're like, "Who's airborne? All right, who wants to go to Anchorage?" And then we get there. They're like, "All right, cool. You're going to Iraq first." Russia invaded because of concerns that Ukraine would finally be accepted to the UN, which would protect them under Article 5. That's all I know. I don't know much about it. It probably do a lot of us a lot of good to look into it more.
I
Definitely
mean,
me.
he did invade because he didn't want them joining the UN. They weren't a part of the UN, and they
No,
still
but
are
they were
not.
making threats. No, they were making threats to join. I think Biden was the one having those conversations, saying, "Hey, we're gonna UK's or the Ukraine's gonna be in the UN." So either way,
The only the
here's one of the reasons I don't look into it too much. At the end of the fucking day, there was a few months ago they were talking about the plans already about rebuilding Ukraine, and Blackwater owned a big piece of that. That's what it's all about. I think that what you and I are doing, that's why I don't pay too much attention. Like we just kind of fell into that shit. I don't know what it's about. I think that that's just a bunch of bullshit, to be honest. And why should we be getting involved, in anyone's situation? I think it all has to do with something deeper, and those little things that you and I are talking about, and what everybody's chiming in on here on are just things that, yes, they're probably important. They're probably really fucking important. But if all we're doing is arguing about foreign policy is just a bunch of bullshit to keep us, occupied on that shit instead of what they're really doing.
I mean, they're all out for money and power, is
Yeah,
really what it comes down to. And it's all a game for them, and we're just kind of like the pawns getting fucked in the process.
yeah,
So, going back to Charlie Kirk, he somebody said something earlier about it only being a
you're echoing
200
real quick,
yard.
and it's my
Oh,
fault. Give
am
me a
I?
second.
Oh.
Um, that's why. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Am I echoing?
No, not you were. You're good now. Foreign policy is better game to play than eternal social issues. Anyways, I think we're good now. Can you hear me?
I've been
All right.
able to hear you.
Yeah, it was just an echo because I accidentally opened up another deal here. Um, Foreign policy is better game to play than eternal social issues. I'd rather play rally against the Chinese than my neighbor. Juicy, actually, I'm not sure who that is. I got some. Somebody said something that I wanted to ask
Juice
you. Okay,
Action, that's my friend Jason.
okay.
I'll
Sonia,
he's
Sonia
very critical of
Gentry.
me, so you all know.
Okay, yeah. Okay, you tell me about them. Sonia Gentry. Both parties belong to the same bird. Or both wings, same bird. Correction flows both way. '06, '07, bud. That's Drake reminding me that it was '06, '07. Um,
Yeah, maybe you had just
yeah.
gotten
So
back when I met you.
yeah, I
Sorry.
think so. I guess that's what it was. I guess that's what it was. Um, So let's talk about what topic did you want to jump into? I know you've got a lot to say, and where
Well,
did
I
you want
mean,
to start?
we didn't really. Last time we were talking about Charlie Kirk, and we kind of did like we just what just happened and like diverted and got into all these other topics which are relevant, but I mean, not necessarily to Charlie Kirk, but to the moment that we're in. But so, kind of what I wanted to talk about a little bit is political violence and the hypocrisy coming from the right in regards to political violence and kind of the history on that. And, you know, this is something that we talked about earlier. Charlie Kirk himself, what was it that he said? I'm going to pull it up right now. He was an advocate for the Second Amendment, which I have always been an advocate for the Second Amendment. However, like with the amount of shootings, mass shootings, like gun violence in this country, something has to change. Like, I'm not saying what that something is, but something does have to change. So, Charlie Kirk once said, I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God given rights. I think it's kind of ironic that he allowed for the potential of a certain amount of gun deaths to be okay, essentially, as long as everybody gets to keep their guns, and then he gets killed from a gunshot. Interesting.
It
By
is
someone of.
interesting. I mean, it is definitely interesting to say that, and then that's what happens. Your buddy here, the one that said that clashes with you, said it's out of context.
What is out of context?
I don't know if you could elaborate on that. I'm trying to figure out the words I want to say on it because I don't. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I just don't know if that's the way I know that. So the reason I can't really so for everyone that doesn't know, for the longest time I've always been on the right. I mean, growing up I didn't give a shit, but in the military after 9/11 I was pro Bush. And then during the Obama years, I really didn't pay attention. And then, well, we got Obama again. Then Trump, I supported him the first time. I was just getting out of prison. I don't know why. Hold on, my screen's blank. I don't know what reason gave that I got. Actually, he was president, and it was the first election was 2016. And I was actually living in Kansas City at the time, and I was kind of like, if I had to pick someone, I guess it'd be him. But so I've listened to Charlie Kirk. I've not in the early days. I know of him. I think everyone pretty much knows of him that follows any kind of politics. He has one of the biggest, platforms out there, conservative in the conservative space. But I listened to him, and I didn't necessarily always. I just didn't like that he would turn down a bunch of debates, and he did some, but I mean, it was just against kids. And I go to school, I go to college, and I'm like, I destroy these kids sometimes, not like all the time, but we had debate. I had a debate class last year, and like I'm a dumbass, and I was beating these kids and like just stupid little debates about nothing. And so
Did it
some
feel
of the
good?
debates that he turned down, he wouldn't do. But he was just very extreme to certain things. I know I sent you that deal that you just read from. I don't know if that's what you read from, but he did say some things that I wouldn't know. I mean, you might have different opinions on there. Were they inciting hate? You can definitely take these things as hateful, 100%. And let me just read you some of these. And these are, I did check them. This is from Zatel.com. This is one of the platforms that I just started following from one of the journalists that I've been watching for the last few years. But black people happening all the time in urban America. Prowling blacks go around for fun to get target white people. That's a fact. It's happening here and more. Civil rights, we had a huge mistake. We passed the Civil Rights Act in the mid 1960s. I remember when he said that. He tweeted to Taylor Swift, reject feminism, subject to your husband, Taylor, you're not in charge. George Floyd, this guy's a scumbag. Um, I don't know if this one's true. MLK was awful. He's not a good person. He said one good thing. he actually didn't believe. So some of these things, and transgender people, you're an abomination of God. I think I remember seeing that. I didn't check this last two, but I mean, I can see
Okay,
how that would piss people off. Do you? Okay, go ahead. What do you
really
think about this?
quickly, they're saying that I took it out of context and that he equated to driving cars, and that there are 50,000 deaths on in vehicles. Should we take away vehicles? Again, going back to how I said, you can't really compare Biden and or Obama to Trump. You can't really compare because it's not like people are out driving around trying to kill people. I mean, that may happen, but that's not 50,000, you know, every single death. Whereas with guns, people are actively going and hunting people down and shooting mass amounts of people. So those two things don't really. Cars aren't built for destruction. Guns. Thank you, Maggie. Maggie says cars aren't built for destruction. Guns are. That is a better way to summarize what I was trying to say.
So what
So
is
that's
it?
bullshit, my
I mean,
opinion.
I agree with you. Like I was saying earlier on the live stream before I was talking to you, we've been dancing around this topic since. So I'm sure, obviously, way before this, but this is just from what I remember, Columbine. And after that happened, that's when it kind of came into the my radar because I remember watching it on TV at school. And then after all these school shootings that we've had, Sandy Hook, the one here in Texas,
There's
Colorado, the
one
one
like
at the
every
movie theater,
day.
yeah, they're everywhere. Obviously, there's an issue,
And do you
and
remember, sorry, do you remember when Columbine happened? And that was like the biggest fucking deal. Like everyone was shocked. No one could believe that this was happening. And now it's an everyday thing. And like instead of having, tornado drills or fire drills, I mean, they're probably still doing those, but they're also now doing active shooter drills. Some people are wanting the teachers to bring guns to school. Like it's out of control.
yeah, no, it is out of control. It's gotten out of control for sure. And I don't. I also support, or I do support the Second Amendment. I also believe that that was written a very long fucking time ago. And not saying that something has to be done. It's not. I mean, it's not. You can't say that there isn't a problem. You can argue that guns don't kill people, people kill people. But then you can say, like Maggie did, cars aren't built for destruction, guns are. Um, it's. Does anyone know what the Second Amendment is even for? Yes, I do, but I'd like my good friend Bob, if he's still in here, or any of these guys. Yeah, the Second Amendment. Don't know it verbatim. Don't claim to know it, but it was to protect us from a tyrannical government. I'm sure that's very close to what you are looking for. And so there we go. I agree. I agree there. I agree that that's real, but you could also argue that we might be going into a tyrannical government now,
We
or that we're
are.
already in there.
Not
That
we
we
might
already
be.
are in there,
We
right?
are.
So
Well,
how
and
good did that
also,
work out?
I'm not saying completely get rid of the. Okay, hold up. I will come back to you. I'm not saying completely get rid of the Second Amendment. I'm not saying that at all. I have a gun. Okay. Uh, but there are regulations and restrictions that we can put to help minimize these things. And what's happening is like these are being implemented a lot of times in blue states, but in red states, they're number one not being implemented, but a lot of the regulations are being the bar is being lowered. They're allowing more and more things to happen, like people are carrying open carry weapons, and some places you need a license and other places you don't. And so I don't think it's bad to have a regulation. And some people are going to come and say, oh well, people are going to do it anyway. Well, yeah, that's the fact of the matter with any law. People are gonna do it anyway. But if you have someone who's like in a crime of passion, is like in the moment and wants to go just buy a gun, and if you have to wait a few days and get a background check and do all this, you've had time to maybe calm down and think about it. Or maybe you don't even get approved because like some red flags come up. And so it's not going to prevent every single thing from happening, but to just ignore it and act like nothing's wrong and that we shouldn't at least try to do something is just like, and you people are the ones who say, oh, you know, children lives matter. What about all these fucking children who are getting killed while they're going to school trying to get an education? Like children, little kids. It's not okay.
No, it's not okay. I mean, somebody gave me a good point today about what happened. You know, because I brought up the point that why didn't they? You know, I was after Butler, Pennsylvania. After Butler, you know, you would think you would have every roof cleared. You would have, you know, security everywhere. And from what I understand, Charlie only had 6 guys on his team. I'm like, why the fuck wouldn't he have more?
Yeah.
And this guy was like, man, well, how, you know, you shouldn't feel that way in a school. You shouldn't, the students shouldn't have to. I mean, you and I have been in combat, and I, as a combat a veteran, you know, your brain is not. I mean, there's some fucking crazy people that love the shit, and I, you know, enjoyed, you know, I had a lot of fun, and I'm not saying that you know, that I didn't. It was a great time, but I don't think that the human mind is designed to be around gunfire and to be around death and to be around these things. It causes long lasting trauma. You and I both know that. Everyone in this chat can tell you that. And so you shouldn't feel. Now, these are college students. Think about the Colorado shooting. I think those were younger kids, right? I don't remember off the top of my head,
Yeah,
but
I don't remember
so there's
either.
definitely a problem. And look, you, what's his name? Your buddy said something. What's his name? So I get him right. Is it Jason?
Uh, Jason, Juice Action.
Jason, brother, laws only restrict law-abiding citizen. Dude, I don't like laws
And that's
either.
the
I don't.
thing, is like, that's the argument that I'm saying, is people are going to say, oh, well, not everyone follows the law. You're absolutely right. And that, and
I don't
again,
like.
that's across the board, but it will help. It will help minimize. It's not the, I'm not saying there's one universal answer that's going to fix all of our problems. And somebody else earlier was talking about how it's not a gun problem, it's a moral failure in today's society, which I totally 100% agree that it is a moral failure, but it is also the guns. You cannot say it's not the guns. Like, that's just like, you can't. You don't
No,
go
you
into a
can't.
school and fucking fire blast up a bunch of kids. You don't go into a school and, you know, chainsaw a bunch of kids. You fucking go into a school and you shoot up a bunch of kids because you have a gun.
It's not the guns. Then
Okay,
that's kind
whatever.
of the point. Is what your buddy's saying. It's not the guns. Okay, then what is the point? And we can go back and forth on that, but we've been doing this for fucking ever. And do we need more restrictions? Possibly, yeah, maybe. Or we need. Bomb just said something. You're not going to keep the guns out of the bad guys. I mean, look, I was in prison where we were supposed to
I
not have
already,
drugs and alcohol, and we had drugs and alcohol. Not that I plead the fifth, but it's, you know, you're not going to stop the criminals from doing things, but there are, how are, you know, these kids that are getting a hold of their parents' guns. That's a problem. Um, that's a huge problem where your kids have access to your guns. It doesn't matter how, and even and if they're more trained than other people, that's, I mean, that just, you know, means they're more proficient with it. Not saying that they're more prone to doing these things, but you know, having access to weapons is a bad thing. The easy access. I haven't bought a weapon in a long time. I haven't been able to because of my criminal history, but I remember going to Bell County Expo Center and buying guns. I'll go in there in 20 minutes. I have a fucking pistol. I have a Sig
oh
something
yeah,
or
in
you
Texas for
know,
sure.
for sure, for
That's how
sure.
I,
I
oh God.
Yeah, and I don't have guns anymore. You admitted it, so feds got you. But no, I'm kidding. But I think that the best solution is to introduce mental coping mechanism. Okay, so this is a
I agree with the
conversation.
education. I
Okay,
agree with education, so teaching them, you know, the risks, safety measures, and not just like kids, but adults as well, because there are a lot of adults who just leave their shit loaded, or out and, you know, not locked in a safe where anyone can just grab it. And so, yeah, I think that that would go a long way. I think there are other mechanisms that would help, but it is also still the guns. So
I
that
do.
is just my
I
mind on
think
that.
that you can introducing education on a lot of things. This is one of the big fights that whenever I was going to the Capitol with the Texas Cannabis Collective against the THC ban, Senate Bill 3 and then Senate Bill 5, and all these bills that eventually all fell through. But one of the biggest things that everyone that was pro the not legalization of THC, but keeping, the stopping the ban, their biggest thing was always education and 100%. THC, yes, there's kids. The kids should not have it. Kids should know that it is bad, but the education we've been given about everything is to scare us, not just guns, not just weed, not just everything. We haven't been properly educated on these things, and I don't know what the answer to the kind of education for. I don't know if I want my 14-year-old going to a gun range to learn about guns. I don't know if I want that for her. I know that I'm okay with if just thinking it because I'm a dude and like I think I'd be cool with it, but I'll be honest. I mean, I'd like for them to protect themselves. I mean, what is the age that we start teaching them about guns and taking them to the gun range?
In
And
Texas,
yeah, I mean,
old
you
enough
know
to
what?
walk,
Yeah, I mean that's
basically.
right. And I just and I guess that's gonna have to be each parent, but as a former trauma therapist, I can tell you that they are definitely overdiagnosed. In my school in Chicago, growing up, we went through and stabbed a bunch of kids. Someone who wants to do harm will always find a weapon. That's happening
I
in the
agree.
UK right now.
I
That's
agree with
happening.
that.
That's happening overseas. They have a very strict gun law, and people are being stabbed left and right for sure. That's gonna
But
happen.
if you look, countries around the world, most countries don't allow guns, and their overall violence is lower than the United States. And going back to this, someone who killed someone with a knife, okay, that's one instance, and I understand. Yes, people can, if they want to hurt someone, they will find a way, but it's the thing, like, you can have two things at once. That can be the case. Yeah, people are going to break the law. If you make stricter laws, people are going to break the laws. If you restrict guns, people may find other things. I said it's not a perfect solution, but it's not just it's not, it's a combination of things. Someone mentioned mental health. That can be a part of it. It's not just one thing or the other, it's a combination of things. And to just ignore it and act like it's not happening because we want to keep our guns, like, that's not okay. It's not okay. We can keep the guns, but let's figure out a way to reduce the violence if that's going to be the case, especially for children.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot there to. I just don't know the answer to that, and I wish I did, and I wish a
Well,
lot
no
of
one
us knew.
does,
But I
really.
think we can all agree that there is an issue, and you can say it's the mental health, it's the guns, it's the whatever. But then we have these lobbyists that are pushing, pushing, pushing for everything: more guns, more pills, more pharma, more everything, more technology that you know uh, none of this is ever going to change. And I think we don't have the answers because we're running around in fucking circles on every single topic. Um,
Which is kind of the point, get everyone distracted with all this crazy bullshit so we can do what we need to do or want to do while no one's paying attention.
yeah,
But
yeah,
political violence is on the rise. It, in the past 5 years, has gone up more than the past 25 years combined in just the past 5 years.
yeah, and
That's significant. That is
that is
significant.
significant.
And majority of it is right. When it comes to political action, like political violence, majority, especially in more recent years. Now, back in like the 60s, liberals were more, politically violent. more, people who were trying to, of course, they were, not that it justifies it, but their political violence was, on behalf of like the environment or, social structures, things like that, that would like be helpful, but really violence is still not the answer. And then the liberals also used race to stoke division to try and get, more votes. But
Yeah.
after like the 70s, that stopped, and the political violence started going more right, and just kind of, now there's still political violence on both sides, but majority of it comes from the right, especially in the past 5 years.
Do you think? What do you think about the Black Lives Matter? Do you think that that was kind of a violence-based deal? I mean, there was a bunch of pretty
There
crazy
was a
stuff
bunch of
going on,
rioting, yeah.
right?
And that, the Black Lives Matter, again, I'm not condoning violence, I'm not saying it's okay. But if you think about it, take a people who have been oppressed literally since the beginning of this country. And you can say whatever you want, but that's literally like the facts of the matter. They have been oppressed. And so there is significantly more violence from the police towards black and brown people than there are for white people. And so when you see this pattern like going on and on and on and on and on, like at some point the bridge is going to break. Like it's just too much to try and hold. And so people, take this opportunity, let out the rage, and some people take advantage of it. And again, I'm not saying that it's okay, but it's kind of like things that are happening now. People are committing political violence because they don't like things aren't going their way, or they don't like, or they feel like they're oppressed or whatever. And so it's kind of similar, they just are like, we've had a fucking enough. And honestly, it's kind of fucked up because they destroy their own cities. Um, but I do think that Black Lives Matter, and I think the whole all lives matter is fucking bullshit, because you take a look at what's going on right now with migration or immigration, excuse me, and mass deportation and fucking alligator Alcatraz, where people are like cheering on, these Hispanic people getting eaten alive, and like that's cool. How are you going to tell me that the left is the perpetrator of violence when you're literally cheering for people to be eaten by alligators?
Yeah. And another thing that's been brought up a lot that I don't want to keep repeating, but I mean, you can't. Me at this time leaning right, the pardoning of all the J Sixers, that's and cheering that on. I mean, that's they killed people, right?
They
I don't
killed
know the exact
people.
numbers.
They killed
They killed people.
police.
Yeah.
Actually, they also have a martyr who is Ashley Babbitt, who she was
Yes.
one of the first to like break through the window, and she got shot. And they're
She got
like,
shot.
"Oh, poor Ashley Babbitt." Well, bitch, she was breaking in to try and kill them, like the people who were there. What do you expect?
Right.
When you're
Yes. Yeah.
violently like attacking the Capitol, what do you expect? Oh, it makes me
Yeah.
so mad. And
Yeah.
that people think it was like patriotism. And then even on January 6th, like they blamed it on Antifa. They blamed it on the left and said that, oh, people were like just dressed up as, this or that, whatever. And then it turns out, okay, no, it was Republicans the entire time.
Um,
So,
a cop had a heart attack. Aco joined. I don't know I know that there were people that died. I don't know, man. But also,
mhm.
we can go back with. I think this is all still part of Bob. You can. I know you're just about to. I knew Bob was about to say it. This is all a coliseum. Bob,
What
I
is
know
it
what you're
that's
about to say.
nonsense?
That this is all just political theater, that's all a bunch of goddamn bullshit. It was I think it all is. I think Bob is
I
fixing to
mean,
come out
I
and say
do
something
agree.
about
I
that.
do agree that there is a lot of political theater,
The
but
George
at the
Floyd deal is
same
another one.
time, listen, at the same time, that theater is taking place at a higher level, and it's influencing the civilians of this country to do things on their behalf.
Agree, agree.
That's not
Agreed. And who
okay.
does it
They're
really
they're
benefit?
tricking these people. They are
This,
lying to these people.
yes, people are being radicalized left and right through various different forms of either media or ideology, and people are doing dumb shit, and it doesn't do anything for us. The shooting, whether you hate Charlie Kirk or not, it does nothing for anyone. But what it does, it divides us in a way that we've never fucking been divided,
Which was the point.
which is the point. Which
But go ahead.
no, which is which is essentially what's happened with all every one of these events. The J6 event, the Black Lives Matter, the all these events, Black Panther movements,
The Black
MLK.
Panther movement was a protection thing for black people. That was
Well,
a protection
what
group
does the
for their
CIA and
own.
FBI say about that? You know, they were, I think they were
Of course, because they're black.
right.
People didn't like black people. People still don't
Yeah,
like black people. It's fucked up.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
But
I
going
don't.
back to like the political theater, I 100%, like I said earlier, I think a lot of them are bought and paid for. I think they're, oh, we're doing this or we're doing that, or, it's a lot of like show the public what we're doing when we're not really doing anything. Um, but regardless of that, there's still an effect on society that happens.
There
And
is, there
so
is.
we can all sit here and say, "Oh, we know that this is political theater." I can acknowledge that, but at the same time, there are a ton of people who don't know that, who don't know what's going on, who are completely just out of touch with reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so and that's dangerous because those are the types of people that will believe the rhetoric and that will get, militarized or brought into like the extreme ideology of things. And so there
Yeah,
are real life consequences to the political theater.
yeah, absolutely. No, there definitely is real life consequences, and that's kind of the point. It's like anytime there's some bill passed that passes and you cheer it on just because it's your president that pushes this whatever big beautiful bill or anything that Obama pushes, and you're like, hey, we're getting less taxes, but in reality, what it is, it's these they're taking money from us and giving it to someone else, and it then giving us a little bit something at the extra at the end of the year, making it seem like we won. When it's like, hey, what the fuck? None of this is making any fucking sense. So it's all of that shit that they do this because they know it's going to. Now this could be okay. This could be that this guy, this kid, whatever his name is,
From
what is
Charlie
this?
Kirk,
Right? No, no, yeah, they killed
Tyler Rob,
him. Tyler,
Tyler
yeah, Tyler
Robinson.
James Robinson. That he was a solo shooter. That he did this on his own. We still don't know shit, but it's going to be weaponized. It's going to be weaponized from the
It
left, and it's
already
going to be
has been
weaponized from the right.
weaponized.
It
It was
has been.
weaponized from day one.
Yeah, from day one, it's already
By who?
weaponized. By
Okay.
everybody, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, not really by
I mean,
everybody
no, you're
because
right.
you have a lot of Democrats who are coming out and condemning this, saying like political violence is not okay. Okay, I didn't agree with Charlie Kirk, but it's not he shouldn't have died, like but so Democrats have come out and said that and then what does the right do? Oh, it's all your fucking fault. We're going to murder you.
I
Because
did
who
see a lot
said
of that.
that? The leader in chief.
Yeah, yeah,
He's been
immediately,
stoked.
immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately, I didn't. He definitely immediately blamed, and then Benjamin Netanyahu immediately blamed Muslims. Did you see that? Of course
Uh,
he did.
I
Of
saw
course he
him
did.
saying something. I can't remember what it
Yeah,
was. I
I'm gonna
did
pull
say,
it
but
up.
because when I watch him talk, all I can do is just like,
Yeah,
I guess everything he says is bullshit.
I was expecting a bunch of Benjamin Netanyahu shit to come up a week later, but he started fucking apologize or not, addressing it right away. I'm like, Huh.
It came Jerusalem. There was like some Jerusalem something.
Times, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the very first to report it.
Yeah, I
So
think
there's all
so.
these conspiracies going around that maybe, and Netanyahu did give us a little state. Maybe that's what I saw. He gave a statement about Charlie Kirk and how he's so sad, and they knew each other and had recently had a phone call or whatever. And it's just like, you don't care about anyone. Don't act like you do. Like, but not everyone can see that. People believe him.
Yeah.
People believe he's telling the truth.
Yeah. Ain't nobody telling the fucking truth. Not a single one of them. One guy already hates you.
I knew that was going to happen, so
Yeah, you
I
apparently
put it
you
out at
hate
the beginning.
apparently you hate white people. Or we hate white
Yeah, I
people.
mean, white people are fucked up, bro. Like,
Yeah.
as a white person, I can say that. White people are fucked up. If you look at statistics for our country, majority of violent crimes are white males, adult white males. White people are fucked up. And
Yeah.
just like every other community, not every person is fucked up. Not every, black person is a criminal or a drug dealer. Not every Hispanic is an illegal. Like, there are bad apples for everyone, even though the white race has, I will say, probably the most. Like, white
Yeah.
people are fucked up.
Yeah.
I would like to know what, hold on, there was something that
I do want
was
to just a
said that
text
was,
I got real quick, and I don't
okay.
know a bunch of the January 6th deal. I know that somebody died, but at the end of the day, they still attacked the Capitol. That's what I believe. I don't think that
They did.
me and my good friend Matt Lopez, might have been a little back in about 8 years ago. We're in Austin. Oh no, it was during the pandemic, and we are partying a little bit, and the Capitol was shut down, and we jumped over the fence, and we almost got shot by you know what I mean, for just being drunk and playing around. So I mean, if you attack the Capitol
The
and
national capital.
right, we were just having fun, man. And
But people, like, cops were killed that day. People
yeah,
died. People were trampled. It was crazy shit.
yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember that shit. That was crazy shit. Let me see what we got here. I have a.
Somebody said I'm still picking sides, and I don't know exactly what you mean by that.
I
I'm
think
not a
that was
Trump supporter,
Bob.
and I never will
Um,
be. So yeah, I won't. I would never be on Trump's side of anything.
okay, so I think that's what he's talking about. That you're picking a side. I mean,
I'm picking a. I'm not picking a side. I'm following the information, the facts that are out there, and
yeah,
what I can see with my own two eyes. Like,
yeah,
and what I have been seeing happening since Trump came around
yeah. I think what he's saying
in
is that
politics,
that you're still leaning more left instead of. I
which
mean,
I also
you are
said
left
at
leaning.
the
You said
beginning.
that coming in. I think that's just what's being said, and I could be wrong. I mean, I don't. Anybody can pick whatever. I just already had
I'm not
decided
going to
that
pick
there
the
are
side of a
enemies.
rapist, of
Yeah,
a
yeah,
child
yeah,
molester, of
yeah.
a
I don't want to go those points that are
Maggie.
obviously not proven and stuff, but I'm definitely don't want to follow someone that's clearly not in control. Uh, I wish I can join in with the mic. There's actually, if you wanted to, Lauren, we can bring in some people to talk.
I just want to shout Maggie out for being
Yeah,
a non-practicing white person. Maybe I should
yeah, that's
take on
funny.
that term.
But did you want to? I know we had other things. Let's talk about other things, and then if we have time, we can bring in someone. I mean, it'd be interesting to go back and forth. But what else did you have on your list? I just have a bunch of. I mean, I don't know if it's. worth beating on the things that we know about the shooter. I mean, we already talked about the case, the gun casing earlier. I mean, this is all stuff that we
Okay,
know
what about that video that you
that
sent
you and I
me, and
talked
it
about.
was like it was like one of the last things you sent me earlier today, and I think it was they were talking about kind of the suspicious stuff surrounding how they found the rifle, and some of the
Yeah,
evidence that they're putting out there. Like they found
yeah,
the rifle in a box covered with a towel or
yeah.
something like that. How did he have time to
And
put that there? And
the video of him jumping off the roof, obviously you can't prove shit with it, but it doesn't look like he definitely has something with him, but I don't see it being a rifle. I mean, look, that I think Joe said it earlier. 200 meters or 200 yards is that's not a, especially with what he had. What did he have? What was he shooting?
well, and I want to say
It's
because
not a
someone said something
terribly
earlier when I was like, "Oh, I thought this was a professional." I didn't know at the time it was being shot from 200 yards. I had no information. All I saw
right.
was like a shot to the carotid artery, and I was like, "Damn, that's
Yeah, I
legit."
mean, it's not if this thing had a scope. Well, a lot of things didn't make funny. That I mean, didn't make sense. I heard a couple of different accounts of that they have a video of him screwing the
Scope.
scope on there,
Yeah,
and
I heard that
I
as
mean,
well.
I'm not a
You
fucking
gotta sight it
idiot.
in though.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to sight
and it
that
just
in.
that was a perfect fucking neck shot. Like, ah,
It was perfect, bro. It was
that's what it
perfect.
was. Yeah, 30 bolt. So yeah, dude,
I
that's
mean, headshot would have been perfect, but like, he
I
got him.
I mean, well, yeah, I mean, so it wasn't unless that's what he was aiming.
Yeah,
But
we
I
don't
mean,
even know that. We don't know
right.
where
I
he
mean,
was
either
aiming.
way, you hit a target. You got to sight your gun, your weapon every time you take it
Hmm.
off. A 200-yard shot, any of us that have a and so I don't know if this is true, but somebody one of the very first things, and I haven't heard it since, but somebody said that he was a veteran. I don't think that that's true. Did you see that anywhere?
He's only 22. His
Okay.
dad was a cop, and I think there's some military background in his
Okay.
family. But he's lived at home. He's super smart, apparently.
Yeah.
He actually attended the University of Utah for a while.
I I know it's a probably a boy. It's like one of the first things when I woke up this morning it happened. They said that he was a veteran. I was like, ah. And but even then, 200 yards, like that's not a very difficult shot. Not saying that I'm a great shot, but I think
Well,
any
again, I didn't know that at the time that he
yeah,
was only 200 yards
yeah.
away or what.
I actually
All
messaged a
I
buddy
saw
of
was
mine. I
the
messaged a buddy of
shooting.
mine who I wish he had time to talk. He works nights. He was a sniper in one of the units that I was in. And I was like, hey, what do you think of that? And he's like, he didn't break shit down, put it back together, shoot the guy. And then apparently he disassembled it again, but they found it put together in a blanket.
In a box.
Yeah, yeah. The fuck. But yeah, the
I mean,
video. You go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
I
I
guess that
saw
doesn't make sense. So we're good.
I saw a video of it was like a we talked about this earlier. It was like a ring camera or something of
Yeah.
him, walking down the street, and you can clearly see he's like walking with a limp or a gait or like something weird. But then when you see him come off the roof, he's like takes off running. There doesn't seem to be any kind of issue, and so there were some theories like, oh, maybe he put the rifle in his pants, and and then put the scope on, and so you know we don't
Yeah.
have all the information, and honestly until we did, it's all speculation, or until we do, it's all
Yeah, wasn't
speculation.
he wearing jeans? Yeah, I mean, dude, I mean they're not tight jeans, but I find it hard to believe that I'm looking at the picture now that he had a fucking rifle um in his pants. Do you have a rifle in your pants or you just happy to see me? I wonder.
Right.
I
Again,
yeah.
really quickly, Jason, I already said I didn't know at the time it was 200 yards away, so
Yeah. Yeah, so we know that about the shoot. We know those things. There's still a lot to be said. the whole Discord thing has me really confused about how he came back, and it seems like he was kind of bragging about. But I mean, it almost seemed.
I've heard mixed information about that as well, because first I heard that he confessed or implied to his dad, and then his dad called him in, and then I heard that like his dad told a family friend, and then they called him in, and then I heard that his dad saw the picture of him like on TV and
Yeah,
recognized him and called him in
yeah,
and turned him
I've
in.
heard most of those, and then I also heard that his roommate had some stuff, but I think this is after the fact, after they found him.
He lives at home with his parents.
Yeah, yeah, and his dad apprehended him, waited for the cops to show up, which, and then Patel called it good police work when
What an idiot.
the fuck out of here.
They will spin everything to make them look like they're doing so great. You
Yeah,
didn't find him. He was turned in by his own father. Don't act like
yeah,
you're like you're
yeah.
taking the
Put a
win for
picture
this one.
out. Put a picture out. Same thing with Luigi. Some chick at McDonald's called the cops. Like, yes, you put the picture out. That's not good. You can have a bad police force put picture out and somebody gets caught and they're gonna. I don't know anything about the Utah police force, but I
The
don't
dad
know.
was apparently used to be a cop.
Oh,
Yeah, so
um,
because when I first heard the dad turned him in, I was like, that's kind of fucked up. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
I read that and I was like, oh
Not
well.
really. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, that was pretty fucked up. Family friend recognized him, called dad, and then I think sheriff. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
whatever's
I've heard
being
a couple of different
said, it's being
things.
said. There's so many different things. I woke up to I think I was getting up and I was doing something. I remember what I was doing, and I saw that I wasn't expecting them to find him this quick. That's the
Me
thing
neither.
that's
I didn't
interesting
think
to
they were
me
gonna
that
find him.
I think we need to pay attention to is this wasn't a lot of shooters. They do this and then shoot themselves or get in a gunfight, and he didn't. He wanted to get away, and so but he got caught. He didn't go far. That's the other thing is he went home. You know, I would have been in
He didn't get
fucking
caught right away.
yeah, but I
He
mean,
didn't get caught.
right.
He
He
got
didn't
turned
get
in.
caught, and if, I mean, he didn't want to get caught, obviously, or if he would have stayed up there, or he would have, right off the bat. But he ended up getting caught, so that's at least that way we have him, or they have him. But we also somebody was saying something earlier today, and I was like, yeah, obviously we don't know shit. We still don't really know if that was they did arrest two guys and then let them go. This one obviously is a little bit more solid stuff that they have about him. I don't know. I don't see this. I don't. This the world's
I
going
want to
too
know who they're
crazy right
talking
now.
about is the roommate, because from what I've read, he's lived at home with his parents for a long
I'll look
time.
that up here in a minute. It was. Why am I getting text messages about this? Okay. Um. Yeah. I mean, either way, he got caught. He didn't kill himself. So that makes you think a lot. The Discord thing, going back to it, uh, I don't know if that could be used to communicate with people. To me, it sounded like he
It's
was
like a
communicating with
messaging.
someone. Yeah, I know it's some kind of video game streaming deal. I used to have
I
it
don't
for
think
some
it's a video
reason.
game. I thought it was like a messaging platform.
It's not like Signal or Telegram per se, but I mean it could be. I don't know. But I know I've had it downloaded for something, and to me, just man, it doesn't seem like a homegrown job. Discord is a cesspool along with every other social media platform. Um, let's see if I got
Well,
anything
what's
on that.
really fucked is we don't really. I mean, there's so much misinformation and disinformation, and conspiracy theories,
Yeah,
and it's really hard to decipher through all the bullshit a lot of the times.
yeah, Yeah, it sure is. It sure is.
What
Just
is
like
Discord? He said Discord is a cesspool. What is it?
right.
I'm so out of touch with technology.
I downloaded it earlier, and I was so busy that I've had to download it for something like I don't know.
I
It
think it
looks
is a
dumb. It looks
message.
like some dumb shit I
Okay.
don't
Oh,
use. Oh,
say
I
that
gotta
again.
register. I gotta register. It's just sending part of his parents' house is actually kind of sad. To me, that means he didn't
Yeah.
fully realize what he did. The fact that he didn't
Right?
kill
Because
someone.
wouldn't you think that like your main objective would be to get away? To like hide and fucking right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, who does the like? I don't
He probably
see.
didn't know he probably didn't think it
Look,
was bad. He's probably
I
brainwashed.
spent 3 years in prison. I don't want to do something and know that I'm going to spend the rest of my life in there. I'm not getting, you
Unless
know what
it's
I
worth
mean? I'm
it.
not. Yeah, I'm not gonna let them get me. I'm not living through that. I mean, I don't know, dude. That's such a. You don't never know what goes on through people's head when they're going through that. But that that is chilling. That is chilling that he went home and no remorse, no pain. I mean, and look at his mugshot again.
Maybe he's on the spectrum. He's really smart. Don't let me go starting conspiracy theories though.
Yeah, we'll start some shit on this on this little bitty
Jason
podcast.
said legit Discord is where pedos are most active. Oh, so Donald Trump is on there. I
There
should
you
say
go.
pedos, not pedos.
Uh,
Is it just
uh,
a messaging platform? I'm trying to get the answer to that question.
yeah, there'll be a nerd in here in a minute. Um, yeah. So, what else did we want to chat about?
Oops.
Um, let's.
I was just gonna kind of talk about the hypocrisy, like I said earlier,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the
For sure. You
right
want to?
with their
Yeah. Go ahead.
whole
That's what you wanted
rhetoric
to talk
on
about. Yeah.
political violence. So I did a little research and I looked up a timeline for the past. This one is actually since 2011, and this is high-profile targeted instances of political violence since January 2011, which was Gabby Giffords, who was shot in the head in Tucson, Arizona, when meeting with constituents in a supermarket parking lot. Um, I don't want to lie. I'm pretty sure that was Republican, but don't let me lie. I will double check that. Congressional baseball game shooting, multiple injuries, Alexandria, Virginia. This is June 2017. I remember both of these things happening. There was a shooting that occurred at a baseball game that was like some kind of charity, and Steve Scalise was shot. Uh, and along with the Capitol Police and something else. That was actually a Democrat. It was democratically motivated. Early 2020, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot. No one was injured, and she was, rescued, I guess, if you will. Those were Trump supporters. July 2020, District Judge Esther Salas targeted. One killed, one injured. This is where someone dressed up as a UPS delivery guy
Hmm.
and went to this Democratic judge's home. Her son answered the door. He was shot and killed. The judge and her husband were downstairs, and um, they heard the shot and started coming up. The husband got shot. I don't believe I don't think she was injured at all, but that was a Trump supporter. October 2022, attack on the Pelosi household, one injured, which was Nancy Pelosi's husband, who was attacked with a hammer by a Trump supporter. December 2022 through January 2023. This one I don't. Let's see. A former Republican candidate. Oh, okay. This is in Albuquerque, New Mexico. A former Republican candidate for the New Mexico State House was found guilty of organizing a shooting spree that targeted two New Mexico state legislators and two Bernalillo County commissioners,
Sorry.
Republican. June 2022, Brett Kavanaugh attempted assassination. A man traveled to the Supreme Court justice's home with plans to assassinate. He called the police on himself and was arrested before anyone was injured. That one, I can't say for sure who that was. I want to. Okay. July 2024. This is an alleged attempted assassination of Donald Trump, uh, who I'm pretty sure that kid was a Republican. Don't know. I think that was fake. So, but there was someone killed in that one. There was a second alleged attempted assassination, excuse me, of Donald Trump. No injuries. Secret Service agent spotted a man with a rifle as he was playing golf. So I don't have any further information on that one. April 2025, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home arson. Some Trump supporters went and lit his house on fire and burned it down. June 2025, Minnesota lawmaker shootings, 2 killed, 2 injured. I talked about this the other day. This was Melissa Hortman and her husband who were shot and killed along with their dog, and as well as Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. They were shot and survived, luckily, because I think she was shot like 6 times and he was shot like 8 times or something crazy like that. That was not only a Trump supporter, but he had a list of a bunch of other Democrats that he was planning on knocking off, but he got caught. So, September 2025, Charlie Kirk shooting. Okay, now they didn't put January 6th in here, but that was all Trump supporters. So, of the high-profile incidences, they are primarily Republican and or Trump supporters. And again, I'm not saying that the left is not at fault. The left does have political violence, and in the past years has shown an increase in political violence. However, the violence from the right is significantly more than it is from the left, and that's a statistical fact. So I can, there was another thing I wanted to read. I don't know how much you guys want to hear about it, but it was just kind of going into the kind of history of political violence in the United States and kind of where it's at right now.
And I'm just doing not saying that I disagree with you on anything you said. I mean, those were all true shootings. I'm just gonna
Okay,
do. I
sorry,
just don't
just
know, and
really quickly,
I'm
I'm
not
not
disagreeing with you.
blaming an entire party. So someone said, is it fair to blame an entire party from radical people's actions? No, 100% no. I don't think so. However, when you have one party who is constantly blaming the other party for doing something that they're not actually doing, while that party is actually doing it, you know, that says something. That those incidences speak volumes to that. So no, not every single, Trump supporter is violent. However, Trump supporters are more violent than Democrats in this current political climate that we are in. And my source for that is the journal. Hold up, let me pull it up. The
I
Journal of
see.
Democracy.org.
I saw that, and then I see just a Wikipedia, which I don't. I don't think that everything on Wikipedia is uh, Wikipedia is the CIA. But this one says right wing extremism and mass shootings in the United States. That's what the report is called. Trends in mass shootings linked, and I don't know the
Jason,
truth
don't
about
speak for
that, but
me.
I don't know the facts about that. But yes, what I think is important to just bring up these facts. I know Jason said that it's. What did he say? I want to bring up what he said. He said that, not gonna lie, researching. I didn't realize I can't. Researching the conscience of political party affiliates is just further dividing. We should try to bridge. But I think what is important to know about what you, because they don't hear the conversation that you and I had before this. immediately after this happened, Trump was saying that it's Democrats, liberals. Everyone on Facebook that was in the that I know right wingers were saying dirty liberals, hang them all. One guy was said if you're a libtard, we are enemies. I mean, it was just
We're coming
saying
for
that.
you. All kinds of crazy
Right.
shit.
Or immediately that another trans shooter, it's always a trans shooter, it's always a liberal. That's those aren't facts
It's
either.
all bullshit rhetoric.
It could have been anybody. It could have been anybody. I know, Jason, I didn't say it was as a credible deal. I just did a quick chat GPT and I don't believe a fucking thing they say either. I just was trying to get a little bit of um, just something that I can. I'm not going to say things, or neither is Lauren, but I'm not going to do anything without looking into it. I just wanted to look up something that I could see. But either way, yeah. Um,
Terrence, I wasn't trying to attack you. He's saying that he was speaking in general, not necessarily that That's what I'm doing. So thank you for clarifying. Um, Jason can contest to this. I do go a little on the defense sometimes, but only because I think I'm right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Full transparency.
Yeah. I know. I do the same thing too. I'm just trying to hear what you're saying, and it's different ideas than what I'm used to. That's what I like about doing this with you. Um,
Well, and I think that's a good thing about what we're doing because there is a lot that goes on the right that I don't know about, and vice versa. And because a lot of times people are in their echo chambers, they're not even trying to find out what's going on. They just want to hear what they want to hear, and that's
hmm
that. And so, I think this is good to bring those things into view that people weren't aware of before, or
Yeah.
whatever. So.
Well, obviously, you only hear if you're just a Fox Entertainment watcher, Fox News watcher. You're going to. That's my camera. Hold on. I think every 30 minutes I have to press a stupid button. You're only going to hear that the left is the enemy and the other side's going to hear that the right's the enemy. That's all you're ever going to hear. You're never going to hear all the facts. I know you said yesterday why I still pay any attention to Fox. I only do it to compare because I also watch certain things on CNN, and I just try to. It's something that unfortunately I feel that needs to be done if we're in my case I don't gonna tell you how to do your research, but that's the way I do it, and I hate it. Like Pierce Morgan, I hate his fucking show, but the chaos for some reason I always find a lot of good talking points in that chaos. Um, and I like that he'll have a panel of, see, this morning he had a panel of 6 people, and they were all divided amongst people that hated Charlie Kirk, people that loved Charlie Kirk, people that
It's hard
opposed
though
him.
because people start just like talking over each other and
That's what I
arguing and
hate. Yeah, and for some reason I hate it, but I think with my stupid mind, my ADHD, I kind of like I want to get into that shit, and then I'll find something that I like, and I get a lot of stuff off this shit, and I hate to admit it, but um, controversial shit where people, I don't know why, it's just
because people love that shit, dude. It's
yeah.
entertainment. Going back to what we were talking about earlier of this all being theatrical, Donald Trump was a television personality before he became president, and everyone's like, oh, we love him because he's firing everybody and he'll stand up and do the right thing. But really, it's all just been a bunch of performative bullshit.
hmm
It's all for entertainment. Even
there's
Fox
definitely
News has had to come out and say that they're
yeah,
classified as
Murdoch,
an entertainment
yeah, Murdoch had it
channel,
come out.
not a news station.
Rupert Murdoch, I was actually going to write a paper on this, and I didn't end up finish. I had to drop out of this class 2 semesters ago. But Rupert Murdoch had to go on record and say that did um, they did put out some misinformation, and they did it on purpose. I'll have to look all that
Oh,
up. That was some research I was
100%. That's
doing
why
a year and
Tucker
a half
Carlson got
ago.
fired.
Yeah. Tucker Carlson was with
He was
everybody. I know you have
lying
your
every day to everybody's face.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, and he's I listen
A
to
lot of
him.
them, all of them are really, but
Yeah,
Tucker Carlson got caught.
Tucker Carlson got caught. A lot of people that are independent. I know there was especially these conservative ones. Megyn Kelly was someone that I remember what her deal was, where
She
she had to
left when
leave.
there was all that like Me Too stuff going on because
I thought she said something about blackface. Maybe that wasn't her, or
there
maybe
was
she
like
did
some
say something about
sexual,
blackface.
bunch of sexual harassment stuff going on at Fox, and
Yeah.
um,
Either
so
way,
that's why she left.
we just don't know. I mean, we do know that we've, dude, you can't. That's why I'm done arguing with people that just like, well, I don't listen to liberal media or I don't listen to conservative media. Like, what do you listen to? What do you watch? Just one thing or two things, MSNBC and CNN. Like, well, you can't have a fucking conversation with you because you're just going to argue the same shit. The things that I'm going to tell you are false in your world because they've never been presented to you. They've never been presented to you because, and so they're immediately fake. Even like the one thing that I bring
Also
out
because
all the
they don't want to
fucking
hear it.
time.
They don't want to
Yeah,
hear it.
I want to do a big. I want to do a whole episode on what's called the clean break memo because this is just absolutely 100% fucking true. I'm gonna share my screen here in a minute. This is a memo. Let me see if I can share this. Share screen. Share. The clean break memo, a new strategy for securing the. So this is something that I use with arguments about the Middle East, especially Gaza. In 1996, a group led by Richard Pearl for Benjamin Netanyahu, a study led by Richard Pearl for Benjamin Netanyahu, the then Prime Minister of Israel, which is still the Prime Minister of Israel. This is wrong. Reported explained a new approach to solving Israel's security problems in the Middle East with an emphasis on Western values. It was since been criticized for advocating an aggressive new policy, including the removal of Saddam Hussein from power in Iraq. This is 1996. This is 1996 when they're talking about that. And in the containment of Syria by engaging in proxy warfare and highlighting in possessions weapons of mass destruction. I'm read that again. It has been criticized for advocating an aggressive new policy, including the removal of Saddam Hussein from power in Iraq and the containment of Syria by engaging in proxy warfare and highlighting its possession of weapons of mass destruction. Certain parts of the policy set forth in the paper were rejected by Netanyahu. I don't know which parts, but the report was adopted and serves as a foundation for model Israel. So I'm going to see if I can find the. Well, I'll have to do a whole deal. I know this is a Wikipedia. I have looked and researched and done a lot of conversations about this piece. But even when you show someone the memo and say, "Hey, look, it's Benjamin Netanyahu himself." Is laying out in 1996, and then who's president? You know, George Bush after that, laid out that we're going to start taking out these countries one by one, Palestine being, or Gaza being one of the last ones, and the biggest ones being Iran. And basically, what it was is they didn't want to recognize the state of Palestine. They didn't recognize Palestine as a state, and someone said, oh, "Hey, well, maybe you should recognize them in a state because the rest of the Middle East, everyone fucking hates you, and that's the reason why they hate you." And this memo essentially what was said, and this is not essentially, this is exactly what was planned out. Like, okay, instead of having to be nice to Palestine, how about we just bomb everyone around us? Well, we can't do it. We're the size of fucking New Jersey. Who can? George W. Bush. Not even him. Who can do it? Dick fucking Cheney. And it lays out where they're going to go first. Netanyahu, I want to say the following year, went to U.S. Congress and said that we need to start taking out Saddam Hussein. And he started saying then, I think it's 94 actually, where he started saying that Iran had nuclear capabilities and scared the shit out of us because all we had was two news channels 2 times a day. And every time you got home from school, every time you're going to go home to bed, you're being scared that people on the other side of the world, these little bitty fucking countries, are your fucking enemy and they're going to bomb you. And how many weapons of mass destruction did we find? How many did we find? Anyone
Quite a
that's
few.
still in here? Anyone that's in here that went to Iraq? How many did we? How
Jason,
many? Go ahead.
Jason's an analyst, so he would have seen a lot of information coming through his way. Jason, what's up? You find any weapons of mass destruction?
There, and then there's there's different things that we can get into, but I do want to have a whole conversation on the clean break memo. It's indisputable. It is been out there. It is just like the plans for the new Israel. It's not. It's Benjamin Netanyahu. Let me show you the plan for
Excuse me.
new Israel. He has said we are going to. This is. Let me show you. Let me show you this picture. Oh, wrong button. Share screen. I misspelled plan. Here's a picture right here of this is just one of them, where Benjamin Netanyahu is talking about the new Israel, which is going to include a lot of this territory. These people, the Egyptians, Saudi Arabia, all these, they're not just gonna. This isn't the whole thing. I need to show you the other map. Um, they're not just. How do you think they're gonna get that land?
I'm just gonna take it.
They're not. Yeah, well, they're not just gonna hand it over. Obviously.
They've already started taking it. Israelis
Yeah.
are already coming in and occupying
Mm-hmm.
and chasing out Palestinians.
This
And
is a
just to be
meme, but
clear, this is not anti-Semitic conversation. These are just the facts of the matter of what's
these are
happening
facts of the matter.
right now.
These are
So I'm
facts
just
of the
gonna throw that out
matter,
there.
and if you want to label me as anti anything, go ahead. I this is just facts, and it's crazy that I've had this conversation. I've sent this one guy that I know I've mentioned to the other day. I'm not gonna call him on here unless he starts coming in here talking shit. He has these conversations, and I'm like, look at this goddamn shit. Just look at this memo, and he hasn't even looked at it. And I was like, just look at it
They won't. They
and
don't want
pretend
to.
that
They
you
just want to be
just
right.
pretend that you looked at it. It's only like 4 or 5 pages. Like just pretend you looked at it and then come argue with me or talk to me about it. Until then, there's no point in October 7th, October 7th. Okay, dude. Okay. Yes, it started on
Yeah, what
October
happened
7th.
on October 7th was fucked up.
Mm-hmm. But
But
it didn't
it
start there.
goes, huh? It didn't start there.
It
No.
didn't start there. Don't forget Saddam did use chemical weapons on the Kurds. I do remember that. I do remember that. And we've also used, chemical weapons. Obviously, that's not an argument. That's just, I mean, should anyone have nuclear weapons? And I guess another talking point there, the only person in the only nation in the Middle East is Israel. They're the only nuclear power. Their secret program that's not so secret, that they stole from us in Apollo, Pennsylvania, back in what, 66, 67. And it was just like, okay, we're not gonna we're not gonna look into it. We're not gonna bother with it. You can do whatever you want. They're the only ones with fucking nuclear weapons and threaten everyone else around them, saying, "Hey, you gotta sign this proliferation treaty," but we're not going to.
Hmm.
Uh,
It's that same, you know, you got to do it, but we're not doing it
yeah. Mm-hmm.
mindset.
Yeah. Don't forget, yeah, Saddam Hussein used weapons. It goes back to 1946 in Israel, and it goes back further than that with the Balfour Declaration. I just got corrected on that the other day on one of my posts. I knew that. I know about the Balfour Declaration. I know what it is. I think you should know if you're going to have these conversations. I just need to read deeper into it, because it is a very complicated situation. How land was divided up back in 19, I think it's 1917. But it goes way back, and it probably goes way back further than that. It's like earlier when I said the Columbine. That's as far as my little mind, 40-year-old mind, can recollect. We can talk about JFK
Because
just
that
because
was the
I've
first
always
time
kind
it
of been
had.
obsessed. I mean, that's the first time I remember.
Well, there was the Oklahoma bombing was like really
The
big. I
Oklahoma
remember that as
bombing was
well.
big. Obviously, Oklahoma bombing. And then
But
I
I
think
don't. Was that political?
um, there
I didn't really pay.
that's very conspiratorial. There's a lot
Yeah,
that
I don't know that much about it. I just remember like hearing about
I
it
got
when I was
into it
younger.
briefly once. There's a lot of things that are very wonky about it. It's a stupid fucking word. Um, people are taking me serious now. Uh, yeah, there's a lot of crazy shit on that, like everything else. But I don't know if that was. I don't remember exactly what it was. Let's see what we got here. Black Panthers were good at first until they started bombing shit.
They started as a protective organization for their own
Yeah,
people. I don't know what, you know, I don't
yeah.
know about all that, but
My buddy Doc is on here. He's tattoo artist, and I got one of his stickers right here. I was fixing to put on my water bottle. Where is it? You see it?
it's kind of, or was that
Good
oh, Good
vibes.
Vibes. It's like a
Good
Lone
vibes on it with
Star.
the Lone Star
I love
logo.
it. That's cool.
He's done a few pieces on me, and veteran as well from
I think we
Cenarsville.
got a lot of mostly
We,
veterans
we
up in
do
here.
have we do have a lot of veterans.
Or some who may be active still.
Terrence asked what did they bomb. Terrence, that was somebody on that was only on Twitch. Juice Action 217. Oh, that's that Jason.
That's Jason.
Okay, so I don't know. Jason can answer that if he wants. I don't know what they bombed. That was just something that I brought up of just kind of racial um, groups and racial issues that have happened. I know you're a government building that also had a daycare. I don't know anything about that. Um, Terrence knows a lot more about that than I do. So, did we even get to? Yeah,
We
we got
got
to talk.
pretty far off track.
Yeah, I think you're talking about. You were going over facts for about the shooters, about them being Republicans, not necessarily saying only
Not all of them,
Republicans.
but
Not all of them were Republicans, but I think it's fair to say that they're those that you listed. Obviously, if we wanted to have a real, you and I talked about this before, and I had the chance to look it up, and I just did a quick search. Nothing's really far off. There's conversations on both sides, but I guess I mean it's just safe to say that it does happen on both sides, and regardless of what side it was, um, it's important to talk about it and not blame the other every time something happens. But we're
I
just
think
so
sadly we're like past that point.
immediately as soon as it happened, it was a transgender
Or
immediately.
a Democrat
Yeah,
scum,
yeah,
of the earth, the worst.
yeah, yeah.
It is
So,
interesting though that it was a kid, and like I was thinking about, the alleged attempts on Trump's life, and that was the kid
oh
too,
yeah,
like a
yeah,
young
yeah,
kid. And
yeah,
so it's like,
yeah. That's
something we
true.
had talked about the other day is I had said like I don't like the fact that people automatically go straight to mental illness or mental health when there's like a tragedy like this, because for one that gives mental health kind of a bad name. Not saying that those incidents don't exist, but I don't think that that should be the first thing that we jump to. um, and I had a point I was trying to make there. What was it?
I don't know. We get this when it's when we've been on. I mean, we've only been on for a few
Yeah.
hours, but we still whatever. We still got people interacting here. Never. Most of the killed were. I forget that we can do this. Most of the kids. Most of the killed were children in the Oklahoma City bombing. A very dark day in history.
Like anything that is targeting kids, or anywhere in the world, like that's some fucked up shit. Like
Yeah.
kids, leave the kids out of it. Come on.
Yeah. 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 For
Damn, I had
sure.
a point to make a minute ago and I don't remember what it was. Sorry, I'm kind of multitasking right now because I do have some work I
You're
have to
fine. You're
finish
fine.
before
You're fine.
the end of the
We
hour, but
definitely covered a
I'm
lot. I
almost
think
done.
we definitely covered a lot. I'm gonna see what else I have up here. We're not on here super long. I just did find out I have to drive to West Texas tomorrow, which is not something we need to
Well, there,
rush.
we maybe we can like because there's so much information, it's hard to get it all out in like one setting, especially when there's so much going on and it's so easy to go from one topic to the other because as we discussed before, it's like all connected. Um, yeah.
I'm gonna see
So
if I
so there's
can.
a lot of information that I have that I was like gonna read or share tonight, but I'm kind of like, should I just like post it
I think we
and people
should
can go read it for
probably
themselves?
post it. Let's. We talked
Will
about a
they?
lot today.
Will they though?
I do think maybe bring in. What do you think about bringing a few people on one at a time to just a few
I think
minutes
one at
each?
a time would be okay. I don't want
Yeah, I don't
to
want to do a
get a
full
ton of
panel.
people up here.
Joiner, I
It's
know
like,
you asked.
yeah.
Joiner, if you want to get on, give me a holler and I'll send you a link. And then we don't. We're not. Let's see. I'm copying the link right now. And I will send it to him on Facebook here. Yeah, I actually had homework to do, and
It's Friday.
oh, I keep getting these things. Cheap viewers on Streambo.com. Good, nice try, Fed.
They watch this.
Yeah, I mean, they're watching this. We're on a list. We are on a fucking list.
If you're not on a list though, like what the fuck are you even doing with your life? For real.
Yeah, for sure. Let me find Joseph here. Joseph Joyner. God.
Well, there. While you're doing that, I may just like read a couple of the things that I wanted
Go
to,
ahead. Go
just
ahead.
to kind of talk about a lot of where the ideology and stuff is kind of coming from. So let me put this thing
Hey,
back
Joiner, I
here.
sent you a link to your Facebook. If you want to click that, it should bring you right on here. Okay, you're seeing it.
Okay, hold on. I have like 10 things open. Here it is. Okay, let me get to the most important part. Ideas that were once confined to fringe groups now appear in the mainstream media. White supremacist ideas, militia fashion, and conspiracy theories spread via gaming websites, YouTube channels, and blogs, while a slippery language of memes, slang, and jokes blurs the lines between posturing and provoking violence, normalizing radical ideologies and activities. So there's a lot of people that are getting pulled into like these extreme groups via online communities. Although incidents from the left are on the rise, political violence still comes overwhelmingly from the right, whether one looks at the Global Terrorism Database, FBI statistics, or other government or independent counts. Yet, people committing far right violence, particularly planned violence rather than spontaneous hate crimes, are older, more established than typical terrorists and violent criminals. They often hold jobs, are married, and have children. Those who attend church or belong to community groups are more likely to hold violent, conspiratorial beliefs. These are not isolated lone wolves, they are part of a broad community that echoes their ideas, an echo chamber. Two subgroups appear most prone to violence. This is as of 2021, so let me just say that really quickly because things have gotten significantly worse since then. But as of 2021, um, Americans Perspectives survey found that white Christian evangelical Republicans were outsized supporters of both. Okay, I can hear myself echoing.
No, it's Joiner. I'm gonna mute you for a second, Joiner. Let her finish, but I'll bring you on. It's good to see you, bud.
Okay. What is it? Republicans were outsized supporters of both political violence and the QAnon conspiracy, which claims that Democratic politicians are Hollywood elites are pedophiles who, aided by mask mandates that hinder identification, in traffic children and harvest their blood. Democrats and cultural elites are often portrayed as satanic forces arrayed against Christianity and seeking to harm Christian children. So there's all of these, it's so like funny. There's all of these, conspiracies around the Democrats and young children and like what they're all doing. And honestly, it's probably going on both sides. Um, it's just funny with all this Epstein stuff. But anyway,
Oh, I
the
think
other
it's definitely
stuff.
happening on both sides.
The other subgroup prone to violence, I think significantly on the right. The other subgroup prone to violence compromises those who feel threatened by either women or minorities. Separate surveys conducted by the American Enterprise Institute and academics in 20 and 21 found a majority of Republicans agreeing that the traditional American way of life is disappearing so fast that they may have to use force to save it. Respondents who believed that whites faced greater discrimination than minorities were more likely to agree. Scholars Nathan Calmo and Liliana Mason found that white Republicans with higher levels of minority resentment were more likely to see Democrats as evil or subhuman. This belief thought to reduce inhibitions to violence. The people most likely to support political violence were both Democrats and Republicans who espoused hostility toward women. A sense of racial threat may be priming more conservatives to express greater resentment in ways that normalize violence and create a more permissive atmosphere, while men in both parties who feel particularly aggrieved toward women may be most willing to act on those feelings. The bedrock idea uniting right-wing communities who condone violence is that white Christian men in the United States are under cultural and demographic threat and require defending, and that it is the Republican Party and Donald Trump in particular who will safeguard their way of life.
Joiner, you're on now. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear y'all. There we go. Hello.
What's up, brother? It's good to see you, man. I like the ACO stuff you got back there.
Thank you. It's good seeing you too, brother. I've missed you, man.
Yeah, for sure, dude. For sure. So, what do you think? Thanks for joining on this conversation and joining us. But you've had a lot of feedback on here. So, what are
What
your
was your name?
thoughts
I'm
on it?
sorry.
Joe, you can call me
Joe.
Joe.
Joe, nice to meet you.
I kind of missed the question. It popped up for a split second and then shifted away. Could you tell me the question again?
Yeah, no, I'm just asking you what your thoughts are. Whatever you want to talk about. You had a lot to say. What stuck out? What point did you want to either dispute or agree with on? Just what is? Just give us something. You've been on
Okay.
here a lot, so give us something that you were really want to talk about.
Well, I mean, me myself being a white Christian male, um, I think that there is a lot to be said of the rhetoric that some people perceive themselves in thinking that how their ideals are the correct way and the only way. And I don't find that to be helpful in any kind of conversation. I think, you know, when someone says, the white male epidemic or it's Christian men, I think that does a disservice because that would be like me saying, all black men are gang members and all Mexicans are drug dealers or something like that. And
But the
that's
thing,
just stupid.
but
That's just a stupid thing to say because
it's
if
not
you
saying
are a
all
Chris,
white men, all
if you
white
are
Christian
a
men, though. It's
like
saying
if you consider
they are
yourself
the they are the demographic most likely. Not that all of them are doing that, but they are the demographic most likely
Well,
in
like
this time moment.
if that is how this the man is perceiving himself, then he's not a Christian man. A Christian man is supposed to love his neighbor. He's supposed to forgive his neighbor. And yet with Charlie Kirk's murder, I'm not going to lie, that's a little rough for me right now. But I know that my Savior wants me to love my enemies. He wants me to be a bigger man. Yes, I have a right to feel angry. Everyone should feel angry. A man was murdered just because he spoke, and because they could not find the words to get him to say, "All right, no, you got me." They killed him. When you have to silence somebody with a bullet instead of your words, you've lost the argument. Like, there's nothing really left to say. Like, what is there to say? If I speak out against you, you're going to kill me? Okay, you proved your point. That's the side of love and peace and chicken grease and all that shit.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Y'all go ahead.
Was there
I
more? Was
have
there more you were gonna say?
um I don't know. I'll turn it back over to you.
Go ahead, Lauren. I
I
think you have.
was raised in a Christian home, strict Christian family. So I know kind of the inner workings of what that looks like, and it doesn't look the same for everyone. And when I say things up here, I'm not trying to generalize people into this or that. Like I said, not every white male Christian is going to commit political violence, but the numbers show that they are the most likely. And I agree with you. I think that, you know, what I did learn from Christianity, because I'm not a Christian, um, but what I did learn from Christianity growing up is, like you said, love your neighbor, take care of the, poor, feed the hungry, all the things like this. Jesus was friends with outcasts. What you do to the lesser of these, you do to me, he says. And there's so much in the Christian faith, like preaching of how to treat one another humanely, and because we're all just like one, really. Um, but what happens a lot of times is the Bible gets manipulated or interpreted in a certain type of way, or weaponized even, to justify the actions of certain type of people. And I know, growing up in Texas in a religious family, they're racist. They're racist. They were jokes at the dinner table about black people, and um, like, even to this day, they say things that are not okay. But yet they claim to be the Christian of the Christian faith, and they're the ones who are doing the right thing, and they're the right. But in reality, like, they're going completely against what the Bible says. And I think with a lot of these people that become extremists, they're a lot of times someone who is like looking to be a part of something, looking for someone to care
Mhm.
about them, and they get kind of recruited into these organizations where people take advantage of that and manipulate that, and and they put this ideology out there that is like not the way that was intended, by Jesus's teachings. And so, yeah, there's just, again, it's not one. There's not every Christian is a bad person. Not every Christian is a hypocrite. Not a hypocrite. Not every Christian is, saying one thing and doing the other. However, there is a huge movement that is like that, and the evangelical and like national Christian groups that are in this country right now that are primarily white. A lot of them are racist. Like, it's just the truth of the matter. And there's been this, push of fear towards, like, this other is taking from you in some way, and so that makes them the enemy. And we can't have, like, basically, like, destroy the enemy, and they're against us, so they're against God, or whatever bullshit that they want to use to try and, like, get someone to do what they want them to do. Again, this isn't for everyone, but that's a lot of what I'm seeing right now is people preaching their religious values but not acting on their religious values.
Yeah, and that is a shame. That is a shame because I don't believe nationalism has anything to do with Christianity. I do not believe that at all. I believe that Christianity is what Christ taught. I believe that we should always try to seek peace. But when it comes down to it, you have a right to defend yourself. You have a right to protect those you love and you care about. Because if you don't, then you're not doing what is commanded of you. You're not protecting, you're not cherishing anything. If it's easy to be pious in a cave or pious in a society where you're up top, but if you look at the Christians who are being persecuted in China or in the Middle East or in Africa, these people are getting butchered every single day, and you don't hear a peep about it. You don't hear a damn thing about these poor people. It's disgusting. I
Well,
live
and some
in,
oh, go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry, I live in Western North Carolina, and I love where I live. I'm very blessed and fortunate to live here. I've had jobs where I've worked with so-called quote unquote Christians, and some of the foul crap that comes out of their mouth, like, dude, I don't really want to associate with you. I don't want to work with you. But that's not, you're not supposed to judge, but you're not supposed to accept it either. You will know them by the fruits that, they bear. If they bear bad fruit, don't eat from that tree. I think what a lot of this is, we're a nation. Okay, we're all Americans. I'm proud of my service, as you can see. I've got all my stuff right there. I'm proud of what I've done. Are there things that I think that not us, the people I deployed with, but are there things that our government did over there that we shouldn't have had any business being over there with? Oh, absolutely. Hindsight's 2020.
Right.
I can remember September 11th, 2001, and I knew at that moment that when I was old enough, I was going to join because my nation was attacked. I took that personally. My birthday is December 7th, 1987. I've always had a admiration for military history because December 7th was Pearl Harbor when the Japanese attacked us. Every year on my birthday, I would watch Tora, which, if you've never seen that movie, I cannot recommend it enough. It is a fantastic historical movie. Is it 100% factual? It's a little fudged, but compared to Pearl Harbor with who were those dudes that played in it, that was completely just garbage.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh,
The movie. Yeah.
what's his name?
when I did my time and I got out and I started seeing things, the first job I got when I got out was I was a roofer, and it was for this Vietnam vet, Dean Hollifield. Amazing man, amazing life story. Agent Orange caught up with him and took him away from us. It was very sad, very, very fast. And to hear, his take on because he told me he could see the writing on the wall. This country is going to hell in a handbasket, and it's going that way because that's how they want it to be. They want us divided. They want us to be always confrontational with each other. Never any point where we can just sit down and agree and say, you know, you live in California, you live in Texas, I live in North Carolina. You know, just because you're on the East Coast and just because I'm on the East Coast and you're on the West Coast and you're down in Texas, we got nothing in common. That's hockey horse shit. You know, we were all stationed in Alaska at some point. I thought that was going to be the dream deployment. God, if I could go back in time, anywhere but Alaska. You know, my time in the service showed me that America is more than just your little clique, your little community. It is a vast people. You know, I had friends who live in Chicago. I have friends who lived in New York, who are from Los Angeles, who are from all over this country. I'd give my life for them right now, in a second. But would I want to go back and do what we did, knowing everything that we know now? Probably not. Knowing that it was just to line some politicians' pockets, just so that they could continue the war machine. You know, I can't, was it Eisenhower who said, beware the industrial complex?
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to like conflicts, let's say like, you know, what's going on with Israel, that's a very hot button issue. I believe every nation state has a right to defend itself. No questions asked. I believe if you're a nation, you have the right to defend yourself. However, if you are taking land from people who have lived there longer than your nation has been there, that's a little fucked up. Now, the rebuttal was like, well, America did it to the Native Americans. Yeah, but you know, the thing is, none of us were alive then.
And
Just
it
because
was
it happened
fucked up.
100 years
It was
ago.
fucked up what America did.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to say that.
Yeah. But because it happened 100, 200 years ago, I can't change the fact. I have to live in this time. I have to try to make this time as good as I can for the generations to come. America is not without her faults, but show me a country, show me one country in the world that doesn't have its faults. Every single one of them do. And when it comes to like, it's tragic. It is tragic what is happening to the people in Palestine. You know, my heart breaks for them. But at the same time, they're also indoctrinated in their own ways that they want to literally kill anyone and everyone who doesn't agree with them. Like, how can you try to defend someone when the second that they get an opportunity, they're going to cut your flipping head off? Like,
is that the case with all Palestinians, though?
I don't think it's the case with all Palestinians, but it's the case with the Palestinians in power, because that's how they control each other. They control each other through violence. If you are a weak man, you will be cut down. It's either step in line with us or you're dead. Now, in Palestine, there are Palestinian Christians, and for the most part, they are somewhat left alone, but there is a line to be towed. It's fucked up. It's like trying to wipe your ass with your hand and then you're trying to eat a sandwich. Like, it doesn't work. You cannot have it both ways. My heart breaks for the people who are suffering, who cannot do anything to defend themselves. Israel, for the most part, has tried to help them. Has tried. Hasn't tried the best. They have tried.
I don't know about that.
Oh, hold on. Because name me another country Name me another country that drops leaflets before you're like, hey, we're going to blow this area. Yeah, get out. America
Yeah,
did
but do
that.
they actually give them time to get out?
That's the thing. That's the thing. How much time are they giving? Because they don't allow journalists in there. Okay.
Exactly. There's no journalists that are Western journalists or independent journalists are not allowed in there. Yeah.
So, so Israel saying that they're doing this is like, okay, it looks good on paper, but what's the actual practice? You know, there was an interview. You mentioned his name earlier, Tucker Carlson. He did with a nun, a
Mm-hmm.
Palestinian nun,
Yeah.
and she goes in to great detail what it's like on the inner works, you know, for them living over there. And they get a special license plate. They have like a little passport, and whenever they show up to a border check, you know, the Israelis are like, "Oh, okay, you're a nun, you can go." Sometimes, sometimes, because why? People are fucking assholes wherever you are. You're gonna have good ones, and you're gonna have bad ones. You're gonna have good Israelis, and you're gonna have bad Israelis. You're gonna have good Palestinians, and you're gonna have bad Palestinians. You have good Americans, and you have bad Americans. There's assholes everywhere. And that's just an unfortunate circumstance of our time. We cannot just
I
sit
don't think it's
back.
even our time. I think that's just a fact in general.
Well, our time is as being the circumstances that we're seeing right now. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we can go back. I can go back in history. I can start pulling up the receipts. I mean, if you want to blame anyone, blame Great Britain because they're the ones that started this shit.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to
Yeah.
blame anyone, blame them. It's always
Right.
the
No.
fucking
Yeah.
Brits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's always
and
someone else. You're right.
and and you can also, it's also the French if you want to go with them. French had an arms treaty with Israel when they switched power. They're like, no, we want to kind of like ally ourselves with our former colony, so we're going to cut off selling arms to you, Israel. We're going to turn around and sell them to your enemies. Israel ended up stealing, however you want to put it, the plans for the Mirage 3, which became the Kafir. It's just
Let me ask you a
nothing is
question.
going to be right until Jesus comes back. And I don't care how you feel about that. That's how I feel. Nothing's going to be right till Jesus comes back. Because every single human being is full of sin, is full of pride and ego. And we're all just trying to not some, we're all just trying to screw each other and not get screwed. And that's fucked up. That's a fucked up mentality to have.
I don't think
I
everyone has that mentality, but I think it's definitely very. It's probably more of a majority than not. So I agree with you there. In regards to the Palestinian people in Israel, and like, okay, you were saying the Palestinian people just want to kill everyone who doesn't believe the same as them, but going
Not
back
all
to
of
what we
them.
talked
Not
about,
all of them.
no, the government, right? The people in
Yeah.
power, and that's the thing is like, the people in power are the ones that may believe that or say that, but they're not the ones who are being slaughtered and starved and
Yeah.
tortured and seeing their whole families just murdered in front of their eyes. And so it's like, and Israel keeps using this excuse of defense. We're like so far beyond that it's not even, it doesn't even make sense to use that as an excuse anymore.
Yeah.
Like
And
there's
whether they're
no
dropping
reason that
it.
this should be go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was kind of go back to one of your things about dropping the leaflets. Like now they just dropped some a few days ago. Where are they supposed to go now? That's kind of that's a fucked up. Where the fuck are they supposed to go now?
They're
Yeah.
like
Like
cornering them
Yeah,
like
basically
and
to just
yeah, I had
they
a
tell them to run. They tell them to run to these refugee camps on the
uh-huh,
outskirts. But then
yeah,
you got the asshole terrorists
yeah,
who are going to gun them down on their way there. You know, there is no peaceful solution to this. You have a violent group of people wanting to kill another group of people and another group of people trying to stop them. And the unfortunate thing about warfare is innocent people get killed in it.
It
We all
does.
know that.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Mhm.
Like
That's
if
true.
if you know, if I was the man in charge and I had the big red button, I would just be like, all right, hey, we're going to go to some island where there's no inhabitants. You got your army on one side, I got my army on the other side, and we'll just beat the brakes off each other until there's only one victor. But unfortunately, the world doesn't work like that.
Well, violence only begets violence, right? So, like, I don't believe that violence overall is the answer. I think a lot of times, even, in the military, I would have said something different, because I was about it. But if you really think about it, like, oh, I killed this guy, so this guy's gonna kill my brother, and then, oh, well, this guy killed my brother, so I'm gonna kill his brother, and then it is like,
It's a vicious
that's like a
cycle.
really dumbed down version of it. But yeah, instead of like, how can we figure out, how can we come to a solution of the problems that we're having? And we're just like so far beyond that people don't think it's possible. I think it's possible. I think it would take a ton of like shit to have to change before that would happen. But people keep justifying violence with violence and violence with violence, and it's just like this evil, circle of violence that doesn't really ever solve anything. It's
Yeah,
just
and I
like
think
perpetual violence.
we all know that innocent people get killed, but I mean, if anyone knows that, it's especially us infantry guys that have, and I know you know it too, but we've seen it, and but this has just gotten way too. 83% of the people that are being killed are civilians. I think that's very. I think that's the highest ever. I think that I forgot what war it was, but 63% of people. Not only that, the number of journalists that have been targeted and killed, more than any other war combined. And the biggest
The last
problem,
I
like you
heard, it was like
said, right, the
274
last,
people that came
like you
out.
said, Jordan, we're not. They're not. There's no journalist allowed to go in there. And to me, that right there is one of the biggest red flags because the only information that Fox and CNN are getting is from Israel. And if Israel,
Mm.
if the bad guys are doing bad guy stuff, they're not going to tell you they're doing bad guy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem I have. And like,
Well,
there's these
did
two senators that had a press conference today. Two Democratic senators or congressmen, I don't remember, that went over there, and they were trying to fly over on the Jordanian side and were denied. Why? What are you hiding?
See,
they
the
were denied to go in the airspace, right?
Yeah, and they were going to go from the Jordanian side. Why are you hiding? What are you hiding? What do you have to hide?
see, in
Well,
my
and
opinion, if you're going to go to war, go to war. Do it
Yeah,
and do it quick. You know, my grandfather, he was in the Navy, and this was way, way, way back in the day. This was during the end of Korea, beginning of Vietnam, is when he was in the Navy. And when the whole thing went down in with Cuba, right? He was on board. I can't remember if it was the Roosevelt or the Enterprise. It was one of the big carriers that they had. He was on board one of the carriers, and they had journalists, get on board. And the captain of the ship is like, all right, he gathered all the journalists. He's like, all right, I want all your cameras and your recording equipment. And they're like, all right, well, here it is. He had them all locked away. He gave them each a pen and a pad of paper. Now, here's the thing: when it's a direct military, operation, like for OPSEC, yeah, I can understand that because because with the technology we have now, hell, we're thousands of miles apart and we're streaming face to face. So, like,
right.
yeah, I get that for OPSEC. I get that for OPSEC. But for it to be going on as long as it is with the Israel conflict, I mean, something's up. Like, come on,
Mhm.
come on. Like, if you were going to do it, do it. But unfortunately, the enemy
They're
doesn't
doing
wear
it.
a uniform. They don't line up like they used to back in the olden days,
Right.
where we're wearing green, you're wearing gray, and
We're gonna
go
duke
at
it
it
out
until
on the
one
battlefield.
side is completely defeated. Warfare just does not work that way, and it's heartbreaking. It take it takes the what humanity there was in it. It takes it out of it, because now, like, I can remember when the thing in Ukraine started, and everyone was just like, heartbroken over it. Like, young Russians killing young Ukrainians. Just stop it. Just knock it off. Y'all speak practically the same language. There was reports from the young Russians who were coming in. It's like, why are we driving past the border? What are we doing? We're on a training exercise. And they're like, keep going. And then, of course, the Ukrainians are going to defend their country. So they start shooting at them. And it's like, they're shooting at us. Like, what are we doing here? It's fucked up. Everything is fucked up. And I mean, what are we supposed to do? We can't just lay down and take it, because our enemies are going to see that as an opportunity. I don't think that the Russians and the Chinese are going to lay down their arms anytime soon. There's the point of us having military bases all over the world. I'm not a big fan of it, but at the same time, it's like, well, if we don't, someone else will. Do we want to give them the opportunity? Look at what recently happened in the South China Sea with the two Chinese, well, the one Chinese naval ship and Coast Guard ship, and the little Filipino uh, Coast Guard ship. Fortunately, we all saw that they can't they can't even drive their boats correctly, and the Filipino ship offered aid to them afterwards. You know,
Yeah.
Vietnam. You know, a lot of people say we had no business being in Vietnam. I wasn't even around for that, so I can't really say if we should or shouldn't. But here's the thing: after the Vietnam War, China, okay, was supposedly their ally. As soon as we pulled out, what did China do? China invaded Vietnam. Vietnam had to fight another war. After they had fought the French, after they had fought us, they had to fight the Chinese. They beat the bricks off the Chinese, i.e., don't fuck with the Vietnamese. Don't do it. They are some hardcore badasses. Do not fuck with the Vietnamese. And now Vietnam is one of our strongest allies, quote unquote, allies in the area. More or less, they hate China just as much or more than we do. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend. With with everything that is going on, the bad guys aren't putting their guns down.
No.
And you
I'll
cannot
be right back.
expect that innocent people are not going to get hurt, because that's just the nature of war. Innocent people will die, and it's unfortunate, and I hate it. I can remember when we were in Iraq and Mosul. I can remember the civilian casualties up there, and to this day, it makes me sick.
Mm-hmm.
I still have, those images in my head, and I've talked to my pastor about it once, about the innocence that was lost over there, and he said, it's hard for us to understand in the moment, but sometimes, because God sees the bigger picture, and sometimes He knows that the future is going to be so evil for those people that He takes them out, and that was like a gut punch. I was like, "Are you serious, dude? Are you serious with that?" But now, thinking back on it, you know, ISIS, what they did in northern Iraq and in Syria and all that shit, what they were doing to people. Yeah, maybe it was better for them to have, lost their lives that young. Like, it's fucked up. It is a fucked up thing. But there are some sick, sick, sick people over there, and it's a death cult. You cannot reason with them. You cannot appease them. You give them an inch, they take a mile, and then they hold you for more. But I feel like I'm
Yeah.
just rambling, so I'll,
No, you're fine. You're fine, dude.
That's how it goes.
Definitely a lot to think about there. But you're right. I mean, I was in there in Mosul with you, and I saw the casualty rate. Um, I think more than my first deployment, if I remember correctly. It's all. But Terrence said here should be prevented at all costs. There's no justification for killing people, and unfortunately, that sounds what I think we all want. But because of the nature of this world and greed and money and sin and just really fucked up people, that's not, you know, they have a justification for continuing these wars. Israel didn't absolutely agree with all your points. I mean, I think you spoke about it. A thing, from whatever sources you do. I'm not gonna dispute all those things now, but I think we can agree that I think we all can agree that it's gone too far. 63,000. So there's two. I have the paper here. So the official numbers, and these are numbers coming from the Gaza Health Administration, whatever, not the JHA, but which is essentially numbers from Hamas. They're saying that it's around 64,000 people, but there are scholars that are saying, because they can only count the people that are being brought into the hospitals. None of that is counting what's in the building. There are three different estimates that I read today or yesterday, and they're all over the place. One of them's 200,000. The lower one is 110,000 or 106,000. So they're saying that anywhere from 100 to 200,000, that's how many people are actually have been killed. And I had this argument with this guy the other day because I said it's a genocide because I call it a genocide. I believe it's a genocide because these scholars, I think 4 or 5 scholars or whatever, got together and they said, "Hey, we're gonna officially." I think some of those were Holocaust survivors were saying that it's a genocide. And this one guy said, "Excuse me, that's my camera." What hasn't officially been called a Holocaust or a genocide by the IPC or whatever. Okay, so do we just let this happen until it's official? Because whatever it is
Right.
now, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's still very unproportionate. 2,000 people died on October 7th. As terrible as that was, and they're clearly are saying Smotrich, the finance minister, and Ben Gvir is one of either one. They're both are saying, Smotrich and Ben Gvir, and it's been praised multiple times by Benjamin Netanyahu, that they want to ethnically cleanse the area. They want to shadow it to rubble. That has been said, and has been praised by Benjamin Netanyahu over and over. That's what they want to do. That's their plans for the Greater Israel. And what's even more disgusting about that is that Trump and Kushner, they're already talking about building this big Trump or Riviera, a Middle Eastern Riviera.
Yeah,
That's
they've been
fucking
talking about that since
gross.
he first came in. So it's not like that's something. I mean, it's new to this regime this
There's
time
still
around,
dead
but
people down there, and he's already pointing
they're
plans. They
and
already
they're
got
already trying to sell the property
that.
to
They,
people that they haven't even acquired yet.
yeah,
It's fucked. And Terrence said wars are for filling pockets. I 100% agree with that. They're unnecessary.
unfortunately, that's the truth. That's the truth about that. And we say never forget about 9/11, but we're forgetting all the things that are not talked about, all the lies that were told, and then we said never again with the Holocaust. And here we are on the brink of another one by the same people we group of people that we said this, never again.
Mm.
And call it a war. I just don't see how you can call it a war anymore.
Right.
I don't know what you could call it.
Yeah,
It's fucking hell is what it
it
is.
is. It is.
You know, like I said, I think a nation has a right to defend itself, but there comes a point where it's no longer defense, and it's
Lethal.
murder. Yeah, it's just,
Hmm.
and like what sucks is like there's aid stations over there chock full of food that they can't get out because either the terrorists hijack it or the contractors refuse to show up, and they won't let the people come in because they're afraid of if they let people come in, there's going to be a suicide bomber or there's going to be a lone wolf or whatever, somebody in there hiding a weapon under their clothes and start shooting up the place.
So just don't let anyone in with any aid. Like I don't think
Well,
that's
there's a blockade
justifiable.
on October. The next day, Israel did put a blockade. Now there's different points that we can argue on there. I don't. I've I'm gonna, I have said this before, but I know that there definitely has been some hijackings, but it's been mostly disputed that from just almost all the humanitarian aid contractors out there that obviously they're not journalists, but they're out there saying that these things aren't true. But then again, there's people that are saying that it is true. So who knows? We don't know that. We don't
Well,
know
the
that. But there definitely
organizations
is a blockade.
themselves.
There's definitely a blockade, and there's 4 sites. There used to be 400 something sites, and now the Gaza humanitarian JHA, the one that's been very controversial these days because of the whistleblower, Anthony,
GHF.
whatever his name is, the
Aguilar.
lieutenant, yeah, the lieutenant colonel, retired lieutenant colonel, that which is a complete that's going back and forth with a bunch of crazy. He was just on
Yeah.
Breaking Points again a couple of days, but and then plus other whistleblowers that have said, and plus not only that, but confessions from IDF soldiers that have said that they're killing children, that they have killed children, that they've been ordered to, or the whistleblower that said that October 7th was that there was a directive called the Hannibal Directive, where Israel go on a full-on attack and they will kill anyone and everyone, even if it's their own people. That's an allegation from a whistleblower that I've read multiple times. Um, you know, we don't
It's
know none of this
believable.
shit, and you have your views because of, you know, there's just so much. I remember growing up, there's two channels. There's two types of weed
Mhm.
growing up. There's, your
Yeah.
shitty weed, your Mexican weed,
We
and then
way
we had
left that
Fox and we had
down.
CNN, and now there's 1,000 of everything. And we
Well,
get it all day. We get it
I
all
just want
day.
to say that in regard to the aid, yeah, there used to be something like 400,000 places. Now there's less than four. And they're all GHF, which are being, they're targeting people as they're coming for aid. And the GHF is saying that they want the aid to come in. They want people to help them. But then the aid organizations themselves on the ground are saying we are not being allowed into Gaza. The trucks are there, the food is there, they're all waiting, but they're not being allowed in. And so there's this like, the Israelis are like, oh, we don't know what's going on. Oh, it's Hamas. Oh, this, oh, that. It's fucking bullshit. They're
Yes.
there. Let them in.
So I think there's a solution, and we did it. World War II, we did it. Well, not quite in World War II, but the same principle in World War II and in Vietnam. Push the shit out of the back of a helicopter.
France did
Airdrop it.
send some, yeah, France did do that not that long ago. I think
There's
it's hard to keep
We
up
did
these
that
days.
in the beginning part of what was it, Afghanistan? We were, of course, I can still remember the footage of like, us pushing aid out of the back of C-130s and stuff, and these crates coming down, and the Afghan children are grabbing jars of Jeff peanut butter and playing with it because they didn't understand what it was. I think quickly they probably would have found out, like, oh, this is food. You know, it's just,
But part of the problem
I think there are
is,
solutions that are to this problem, but the powers that be don't want to implement it. I
and
think
they're
that,
straight up denying that it's even happening. Straight up.
And not only that, but
American
the
politicians are
if
straight up saying that's not happening. You don't know what you're talking about. You're being lied to.
international law and Geneva Convention says that the occupying power must provide humanitarian aid, sufficient humanitarian aid, and they have dropped some stuff out of it. I mean, we sent some, and Donald Trump was saying they should be thanking us for this little bit of food. Not only whenever
He burned up a bunch of shit that was supposed to go
not
over
only
there.
did that happen and did he say that, but weeks after that, the IPC, I think that's the right organization for this, but they declared a famine. They declared a famine, and GHA is saying that whatever they're called, that they are
GHF.
providing enough food, and they're not doing a damn good job of it. If there's
There's only like
now
2 stations open.
it's two states. So the last I heard there was four. They're going to open up to 15. This is what they said 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then they went down to two for whatever reason. They said that they had something happen at one of them and had to shut down the other.
But they had someone on Breaking Point just the other day, and he said that they had 4. They wanted to have more,
That was Aguilar. Yeah.
but 2 of the 4 are down right now. So there's
Hmm.
only 2 operating when there used to be 400, or what was it?
400.
Four, yeah,
It was around
400.
400 between the UN and others, and that's a huge problem. That food is just rotting there. Um,
Well, there was a bunch of food that Donald Trump just disposed of. I don't remember the details. I'll have to come back with that.
yeah.
That would have been perfectly fine to send to them. And going back to the thing like where France, dropped the food off. If you've got like at least here in the States, the whole Republican Party who's just like denying that it's even happening, how are we to provide that aid? Because that's, essentially who we would normally go through as the government. But I know there's also this Samud flotilla that has like 40 or 50 something ships that are sailing there right now with aid to Gaza. We'll see how that plays out. They've already had some things
Attacks.
shot at them, and
Yeah.
yeah. So
Well, like another point is like the border with Egypt. Egypt isn't allowing aid to go through their border. Why? Like you're right there. Like you're the furthest point away from conflict. That's where everyone is rushing to. Why can't they help from that side too? Because
Yeah.
the Egyptians don't want the Palestinians. That's the thing. The Arab countries don't give a shit about the Palestinians. I
I
saw
can't
this
speak for
little
Egypt. I don't know
tidbit.
about that.
I saw this little tidbit of a I think he was from what is it, QAE, and he's pretty much like, no, they're subhuman. Like
Yeah.
we don't want them to come over here. We don't like them. We'd rather have everyone else in the world come here except
Yeah.
these people. Like that's fucked.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be the same faith. Where's the humanity in that? But no, you know, it's the we saw it when we were over there. I mean, some of these people just don't give a fuck. They want it to continue to happen, and
And I
like
think
this,
that's because they've been, brought up with rhetoric that these are the enemy and that they're bad and they're indoctrinating. Even the children are bad because they're being indoctrinated into the same mentality of, let's kill everyone. And so they feel justified in doing it because they see them as their enemy, even the children. It's crazy.
but that's it's like, but you're all Muslims, aren't you supposed to help each other?
Exactly.
Like,
And
And
that's
I
the
don't
kind of
know.
paradox of like religious wars, like even if you're different religions, you're still supposed to be, of the faith of God, right? Or of the quote unquote morality. Uh, but yet here you are just like killing each other because you want to be right about a story that happened so long ago. Who even knows?
Yeah.
I,
Terrence said we are all just victims of greedy men. Yes, that's right.
that's the damn
That's
truth.
right. Greed is what it really, money and power is what it really comes down to at the end of the day. And everything is just a facade. Like, like we already talked about earlier, it's all just theatrical so that the people in the background can continue lining their pockets, and they don't give a fuck about anyone else. They don't care
They
if
don't.
people die or
They
are
don't.
being, starved or
Yeah.
tortured.
I have a very deep. I despise Dick Cheney.
Oh God. Oh God.
You know, those neocons from that era that
The warmongers, the
that
profiteers.
just would snarl every fucking for every fucking conflict they were there. Let's do it. We got to do it. We got to go in there. We got to fucking keep creating these wars. How much $1 trillion in debt did we incur from the war in Iraq? It was trillions of dollars, dude. And guess who has to fucking pay that? Us.
Hmm.
Trillions
Hmm.
of fucking dollars. We're paying for it. Us three were the ones that went over there, and we were
Literally
forced to
risked
pay
our
for it.
lives. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and the
While a
fuck.
bunch of people at the top just keep getting fat.
Yeah,
Yep.
this was your war. Why am I paying for it?
Because they convinced us, it's like this is one of those things, like once you see it you can't unsee it. Like, we were so patriotic, we wanted to fight for our country, right? We got attacked and we were like, fuck that, we're standing up against that. And we all really really thought that we were doing the right thing. At least I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was like going out there to make a difference for my country and all this. And once we were there, about halfway through, I was like, this is all bullshit. This is all bullshit. Like, we should not even be here. But because we were taught that America is so great, and we pledge of allegiance every single day, and we're the best country in the world, and all this like really like propaganda, because America's not that great really. And and so we were like victims of that. I think is like we really thought we were doing the right thing, but now that in hindsight we see like, okay, that wasn't the right thing.
Like, I mean, I love my country. I love my country. I despise the government. It. I wish we could go back in time and talk to the founding fathers and be like, is this what this was supposed to be? I don't think they would. I think if the founding fathers saw what America has become, they would be disgusted.
I think this is what they were trying to prevent. This type of thing is what they were like, what's happening right now, at least in America, is what they were trying to prevent. And, you know, just like the Bible or any other religious text, people are going to take and spin it to fit their narrative or justify, what it is that they want to do.
Yep.
And then they just
People
fucking
just people suck. Ev- Everybody fucking sucks.
people do so.
Yeah,
That's why I like to
yeah.
be alone
There we go. We all
most
agree
of
on
the
something.
time.
We all agree that people suck. Um, yeah, no, that's war. War. Unfortunately, it's happening. Says that you and I, Lorna, were very vocal about what's happening. There's not. I don't. I don't. I think that it's gonna be when it's all over. It's gonna be very, very bad. It's bad now,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
it's only gonna get worse before it
Yeah,
gets
it's only
better.
going to get worse.
there's so much that happened. They're taking hostages now. They're lining people up right now in
Yeah,
Gaza. They're
I sent
lining
you a
people
video
up
of that
in
earlier.
Gaza right now while we're over here mourning or whatever, talking about Charlie Kirk.
I'm
Um,
not mourning
they're
Charlie Kirk.
they're pushing people out. I don't know where the fuck are they putting them. There's already a bunch of things out there about concentration camps where they're going to start rounding people up, and they're calling it, I forgot what they're calling it. It's a fucking concentration camp. When you round people up, put them in a place, tell them that this is where they're going to be until you push them out or until whatever. That's a fucking concentration camp.
Well,
That is a concentration
when
camp.
when it comes to that, my feeling is like if you immigrated to America through legal channels, you have every right to be here. If you cut the line, that's not fair to all of those who are trying to do it the right way. Now, I understand if you are trying to flee somewhere like Venezuela, or you're trying to flee, the cartels because they're going to kill you and your family if you don't grow their drugs and shit. I get that. Those people deserve some kind of political asylum. But you have other nationals coming in who aren't being persecuted, and there's bad actors. There are bad actors in amongst them. Those people needed to be sought out, found, and shipped the fuck out because they don't want to anything but to bring chaos and discourse and harm to the rest of us. It is a travesty that we have gotten to this point where just because someone speaks a different language than you automatically assume that they're not here for the right reasons. Everyone deserves to try to have a life where they're not going to worry about someone taking it from them. But the odd thing is like the American way of life is the oddity. You go anywhere else in the world and it's dog eat dog. They don't
That's
give
not
a
true.
shit. Like, not everywhere else in the world, but if you look at like what's going on in Europe, it's like my dream. I would love to go and visit Europe. I would love to go and see, all the things in Europe. Right now, hell no. Africa. I would love to go to Africa and see, everything over there. Right now, hell no. Same thing with Asia. About the only place I can think off the top of my head you could go and probably not end up on a milk carton is Argentina.
I don't think that's true. I've traveled a lot. I've been around the world, and of course, it's been a while, so I can't speak to what's happening currently in Europe that's so crazy. But
I mean,
um,
you in France, Great Britain, Germany, you walk down the wrong street, you're getting shanked.
There's a lot of that going on
where
for
are you
sure.
hearing that? Where are you guys getting that from?
So
I watch independent journalists on YouTube. I
yeah,
watch the natives living there. Like, this is Hans. This is where I'm from. Da 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 da. And they go around and show, before and after. And it's like if you are not from that ethnic group that's migrated there, you're gonna die. Like it's just straight up. Like if you don't roll in there 6, 7 deep, if you go in there by yourself, it's bad news bears. You don't go there. And that's a damn shame. Because, like, for instance, my neighbors, Hispanic couple, they are awesome. Love them to death. The people that were there before them, white couple, had kids, they were pretty good. The people that were there before them, 2 guys from Florida, I had to pull a gun on one of them. Like, dude, you do not come creeping up to my house all ninja-like and quiet. Like, don't do that. Like, make your presence known.
yeah.
The old woman who was living there, Miss Laura, God rest her soul, you could have gone into any room in her house and eaten off of the floor. You could eat off any surface. These 2 guys from Florida moved in, and they turned it into a fucking meth den. It is horrible, horrible.
But that speaks more to the shitty American United States than it does to like what's happening in Europe. And again, I haven't been there in years,
Well,
but my experience was not, I will tell you, I've been all over the world, and the place that I feel the most, potential for being harmed in some way is the United States. And I've been to like 20 something countries around the world.
And I don't know a lot about it, but I know there was a debate with Tucker Carlson and Pierce Morgan a while back, a few months ago, and Pierce is in the UK, and they did talk about the lot of, and it's recent. It's in the last few years where they've had just an influx of problems. Just last week, they locked up a comedian for saying some hateful stuff online. That was supposed to be funny, but was
mm,
against transgenders or something. Well, anyways, he got arrested for that, and so they have a big freedom of speech issue going
yeah,
on at the
What
moment.
country
And
is
then
that?
that's Great
um,
Britain. You can
Great
get
Britain,
Yeah,
yeah,
arrested in
they do
Great
have.
Britain.
If you talk against Israel, they will arrest you
yeah.
in England, UK.
I mean,
Apparently, there's. I'm sorry that I interrupted you, Joe, but yeah, there was
no,
a
no, no,
thing
you go ahead.
that I saw today about a couple guys that I want to say it was in Texas where they spray painted something that said "fuck Israel," I think, on there here in Texas, and they got arrested for that. I will have to look that up. But
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I believe in freedom of speech, but that doesn't mean you get to say fire in a theater. You don't get to say you shouldn't be allowed to say and incite violence.
hmm
Like that's not freedom of speech. Like
it's
if you
not.
want to have an opinion on something, okay, that's cool. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, but not everybody wants to see it all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't heard
Uh,
that in a while. But yeah, I lived in Germany. Oh yeah, Terrence has lived in Germany, Ukraine, Mexico, Guyana, Canada, America, and the most crimes and the murders against civilian people. Actually, Terrence was just in Mexico for a good while, just recently, and I was constantly messaging
oh,
him, and he was just
shoot.
having the best time ever. Um, and he was
Mexico
going through some
shit.
spots, and I'm like, bro, you should, be careful there. I don't know if we lost you, Joe, but you're not on the camera. Um, but anyways, go ahead, Lauren.
When I was traveling, I did like a whole trip around the world. So this has been like 10 years ago. So it has
Yeah,
been
I,
some
I
time.
remember. I remember
Yeah.
following everywhere that you went, and then I can't remember where it was that you went to last. Okay, hey Joe, that's fine, bro. It's we've been on here for 3 hours. We appreciate if you're
Yeah.
gonna jump on, that's fine.
Thanks
But
for
we
yeah.
appreciate everything. Very insightful and very exactly how this conversation should have gone. And I think we can hopefully have other conversations with others like that because there's a lot of disagreeing on here. I didn't want to get on a full on debate right now because it's late and I don't want to be loud about things. But that's how we should be talking to each other. That's how we should be talking about these things. I don't think he converted us into anything, and we didn't convert him in to or make him agree on our side. But there's a lot to think about on both sides. Um, what do you think? How do you think it went?
I think America is not as great as people want to believe that it is. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more shit going on here than, is going on elsewhere. Now, I have not been following any of this stuff that's going on in Europe that you guys are referencing, so I can't really speak to that. Um, maybe that stuff is happening, but that's definitely not been my experience. And even this year, I went to Australia and New Zealand, and like zero problems.
Yeah.
The only place in the world that I really was like feeling a little like okay, this is sketch is it was in Italy in
Oh, really?
yeah, it was in hold on, what was the name of that place? I'm gonna look it up real quick. I don't know why I can't think
I
of
have a
the name
friend
of
that's
the
in Italy right now.
place.
I think. Um, think I have a buddy from my first appointment that it just he posted something on my Facebook one day on one of my posts, and he said that I agree.
Naples, sorry.
Naples. So I've heard a lot of stuff about Naples, but I had a buddy that just play with, and he goes, "You're a dumbass if you haven't realized that it's all a sham and you haven't left the country." And I was like, said something to him, and he sent me a picture. He goes, I've left the country. Fuck that shit."
Mhm.
And I think recently he was in Europe. I mean, in Italy.
Italy was it was good for the most part. It was just Naples was like a sketch ass
Yeah.
area, and I was like walking around at night by myself. That was the only time I really ever felt like, oh shit, something might happen. But I went to, this was back when I don't remember what was going on in Egypt, but I remember my mom like, oh, it's so dangerous. You shouldn't go there. Don't, take that off your itinerary and skip it. And just like, you can always go later, blah, blah, blah. And so, not just my mom, like other people too were like, oh my gosh, Egypt is so dangerous right now. Don't go, don't go. And I really like gave some thought to not going. But of course I did because I do what I want. And I had like, I mean, there were definitely some creeps that were like catcalling me and stuff, and nothing that I haven't already experienced, sadly. But in regard to like fearing for my safety, I didn't feel that way, uh, even in Egypt. So,
Well, don't feel fucking safe here anymore.
no, it's
So, and
it's not.
I've been to some shady places in Mexico, and I mean, look, I'm not gonna say there's was times in Mosul that weren't so crazy that I feel at times I was more comfortable when we had like a couple weeks at a time when nothing happened and we were just having a good time on these little shitty missions, that I felt more safe then than I do this whole school shoot this the Charlie Kirk thing gets me thinking a lot because my campus looks just like that campus. And I've not participated in any rallies or anything there, but I was, been thinking. I've done some debates in class, and some of the debate club they get together, they do debates out there. Obviously, I don't know if they've ever had a Charlie Kirk character or not there, but that stuff is, it's hard to. I have kids that I'll tell you a quick story. About a year ago, my daughter was texting me from school and said she heard a loud noise and she was scared. That's me. Don't hold on. And I got real nervous because I she wasn't answering her phone, and somebody on Facebook posted that there was a situation going on at the school, and kind of find out it was not that it wasn't an incident like that. Something did happen, but it was something that they were able to. So that, and I'm over here, it's 3 hours away, and that shit scares the fuck out of me. It shouldn't be where I hate that we got to the point where we have to worry about that, and we have to put metal detectors in schools, and we have to have armed guards at these schools, and
Armed teachers.
armed teachers. My school, my home, where
Fucked
I
up,
grew up,
man.
my hometown, Miles, Texas. I drive. When I take my daughter driving through there all the time. That's where she learned how to drive. And every time we go into the school, there's a big sign that says that teachers, excuse me, might and could be armed. And I believe that most of them are probably
Wow.
know in this town. And
Yeah, in
everyone loves their
Texas.
guns there.
Yeah.
But okay, we've been on here
Texas
for
for sure.
three
I
hours. What
just
do you?
wanted to say
Go
something really
ahead.
quickly, going back to something that Joe had said when he was on about immigration and people coming here legally and all that kind of thing. I used to think like that. As long as people come here legally, it's fine, but they shouldn't come here illegally. But part of the problem is one, yes, some people are fleeing from situations that are not good for one reason or another, but also the legal process to become like to get into the states is really really challenging and is like years is like backed up. It takes years and years. So if you're in a desperate situation, you know it's like, what are you going to do? Just wait these years and risk yours and your family's life? Or are you going to go do what's best, what you think is best for your family? I don't have a family. I have a dog. But if I had kids, or, even my dog, and I felt like I was in a dangerous situation, and there was somewhere better that I could go, like, I would be fucking doing that shit. And I feel like most people could say the same. Like, you have kids. If it was not safe in Texas, would you stay in Texas with your kids, even if it was illegal to, like, cross the border onto another state? Like, people are taking those risks. And then now with the whole ICE thing and, like, mass deportations, is some of these people who are actually trying to go the legal route are being detained at their court hearings before they can even go in and see the judge.
Yeah, I think that happened here
And
in San Antonio not long ago.
it's happening in California
Everywhere.
all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
happening.
happening everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so I think that there are other ways we could deal with immigration than what's happening right now, which is just like a militarized civilian force, because they're literally just like throwing money at anybody. You don't have to have really any kind of experience or education. Like, they're just like, here's 50 grand, go round up some Mexicans, basically. And
Yeah.
now the Supreme Court has said that it's okay to profile people, essentially. And so, going back to kind of the gun thing, like, that's not the solution. There may be other solutions, but, like, let's do it in a way that's, like, not harmful and traumatic to people, and to the extent where they're even taking people who are not illegal immigrants. They've taken, homegrowns, as Trump likes to
Yeah.
call us, I should say.
Yeah, I just found out the other day, and I could be wrong. Somebody told me this, and I looked it up briefly. Like, MS-13 was actually created in California, and I'm gonna look that up.
Is this in relation to, like, Abrego Garcia?
No, well, I mean, everybody was saying how the violent Salvadorian. Yeah, it was Santa Cruz, Northern Carolina, California. Um, yes, it was. Let's see. Yeah, it was created here, originally in Los Angeles, California. It was founded by Salvadoran immigrants. So it was grown and spread here. But I think they need to speed up their immigration for people fleeing conflict zones. Yeah, they just
I
blocked a bunch
agree,
of
but it's just.
Palestinian children from coming in. Rubio did that because they were with sometimes with their parents or other people bringing them in, but because of the adults that were coming through, they didn't know that they weren't sure that they weren't terrorists. So that's there. Oftentimes, it was these kids, amputated kids' parents. Yeah, I think there should definitely be immigration. We have. I don't know if you were. Yeah, you were there in my third deployment. I know you've seen me post about this before, Joe. I don't remember if you, because you weren't on our fob with Recon. You were on. I forget what the one you were on. Edgerton. We were on Edgerton. Anyways, we hired a guy and I was SOG at this small little compound, and we're there, Recon and some Canadians, and it was a very small. Me and Erickson pretty much did whatever we wanted there, and we hired a guy between me and Erickson who spoke a little bit of English to kind of interpret for us inside, because we had the Afghan police on that compound, and he also would bring in every morning a bunch of rugs. He had a little market. He was the only one that we allowed him to come in every single day, back up his vehicle, sell stuff, and then kind of interpret for us when we needed to talk to the army guys, to the Afghan army. And he's still to this day trying to. He calls me constantly. Unfortunately, it's like always 2 in the morning because of the time difference. But he's having a hard time, and he has paperwork saying that he worked for us, signed by myself, signed by First Sergeant Erickson, signed by Captain Morrison, our battalion commander, and he can't. Um, he can't. He's having trouble, and he's there's a whole lot
It's like
more that I can talk.
immigration.
Yeah, there's just and it's because he's he has been targeted because they know that the Taliban knows that he worked with us, and So this is a fucked up story. We'll talk about it later. But he had to hide all the paperwork. He has pictures of me and him, pictures of me and Sergeant Hull and Captain Kolarski, all of us together. And I got one on my Facebook. But he had that to prove. So whenever he was time to get his paperwork started going, he had that and plus some letters of recommendations for him to get other jobs with other military forces up there. He had to hide all that stuff because the Taliban came to his house looking for it. They're like, "Hey, we know you used to work for the Americans," and so he has it hidden. And so anytime he moves around, they're watching him. And so that's one of the things that the Terps that people that helped us should be able to come to the U.S. And a lot of them have, but not all of them. There's still a lot of them there um, in
And
Afghanistan.
honestly, the ones that have come to the USA, in my opinion, are not as good as the ones that are still in country for whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But this is the USA, America. We have made America great again.
I don't know about all that.
It's just a lighter. Any closing thoughts, Lauren? I
Thanks
gotta
for
go.
staying with us all this time,
For
whoever's all
sure.
still
Yeah,
here. Like
Terrence,
we've been
Bob
going for a
texted
while.
me. Bob texted me said that he's got a lot. You have a.
I have a hater.
He wants to have discussions, and he didn't say anything bad, but he definitely disagrees with
Oh,
you on a lot
he
of things.
was yeah, he was disagreeing with me in it. Is he
Yeah,
still
so
on?
which is
Was he
fine. I
a
told him.
army friend or?
Yeah, he's from here. I met him here. He's a combat medic. He was there at the invasion. He was one of the first ones there as combat medic. He's got some amazing stories. Went through a lot of trauma. He got injured over there, Purple Heart, was medevaced back. He went through hell with the VA system. He almost died multiple times on pills and whatever. And he's also a licensed therapist. And what he says, divorced the VA to and he started healing himself. He lost a ton of weight on his own. He got real fit. Anyways, now he treats veterans with psychedelic medicine, with ketamine therapy, with
He assists with that?
yes,
Hmm.
he
What
has.
about like mushrooms and
Well,
all those
he does
things?
that too. Yeah, he does that too. He treats with all of them, and he has a religious. I forget what the whole deal. So he can practice. I mean, he can't roll around with a pound of shrooms, but he can practice and legally do these things. He has a ceremony once a month here in Texas that's for veterans only, and it's free. An ayahuasca ceremony. It's protected under the Religious Act. I've written a lot about it that I
Hmm.
haven't posted, that I haven't published yet. I've attempted. I mean, I've attempted. I've attended. I
Interesting.
think 4 events with him already. But anyways, he's very very controversial too. I got
What are
a. I'll
some of
show
the
you.
things that he's
Well, he's
disagreeing with me about?
definitely on our side with Palestine, Israel. I think what he was saying is that you were just seeing like you were always picking the left, and he's just trying to say, hey, they're all just as bad. It's not just the left. Blah
I
blah
mean, I
blah.
said that as well. Like, probably 98% of them are bought and
Yeah,
paid for. However, the left does try diplomacy. They do try to, come to. Now, there's a lot of shit that's going on. I'm not going to deny that. And in regards to like picking sides, if the Republican Party were not where it is currently at, I'm not going to be Republican, but I might, give some consideration to giving that side some benefit of the doubt or whatever. But when I've seen what's happened over the past, what is it, like since 2016 or something like that,
right.
tells me, like, my experience tells me that they are not to be supported. It's not that I'm, picking sides because I like Democrats better. I'm picking, quote unquote, picking sides based on the information that I have and the experiences that I have and what I've seen, happen again right in front of my eyes. And so, yeah, I'm not going to side with a rapist. I'm not going to side with a pedophile. I'm not going to side with a
Yeah,
Nazi or a racist or, any of those things. And
yeah. And I
That's where a lot of
could
that
be wrong. I
is.
don't know exactly what he didn't like. He's somebody that's definitely going to want to have a conversation. I'll show you real quick a little bit of what I wrote about him. He was both him and I were invited to a funeral or celebration of life for a Navy special operator who committed suicide right in front of the VA here. Shot himself. Went in there asking for help. They wouldn't help him, and he shot himself. And we were invited somehow through the family. I don't know how they got a hold of me and Bob, but we went, and then he went to the VA every single day for a good at least a month to protest the VA. And I caught I caught a lot of it. Here's his with the
This is
sign,
him.
veteran. Yeah. So the sign says, "Come on." Veteran Death Care Services murders 40 combat veterans a day. Mark Miller is one of them. Do your research. Abolish Veterans Death Care Services. And then you can see there his, well, that tore up that day, but he's got American flag. He also has the police flag, but that's right there in the back. That's an Israel flag. And then his little sign back here talks
Yeah, I
about
see it.
Palestine. He made this rig. It's a whole thing. And he was out there every single fucking morning at the VA for a good while, arguing, getting in arguments. That's the first day I went when he was wearing just you know his. This is obviously we didn't have desert camo. He's like I said, he was there at the
What's he
beginning.
arguing with people about?
Um, well, his biggest deal is the VA, the healthcare services. He calls it the death care services. He doesn't call it the healthcare services. He feels that they're, well, first of all, they're still claiming. Well, actually, they went down from 22 veteran suicides a day to 17, and there was a whole bunch of other various like okay, so one of them is Operation Deep Dive. I have that. I wrote about that for school somewhere. It's over here somewhere. But anyway, Operation Deep Dive is it's an ongoing study that I think it started like in 2022 when they're like, hey, yeah, it's not 17 veterans a day. They started doing their research in multiple areas where there's veterans, and they found out that not only is it not did it decrease, but it's actually double. At least 44 veterans a day are committing suicide. The VA stopped counting certain, or the way they categorize a lot of the deaths would not fall into suicides anymore. And VA Orlando is fire. So, anyways, the bombs do is that they're lying, and their biggest thing is you go in there and they want to give you pills. They just want to give you pills.
Yeah, I have
And
seen that at the
I
VA.
just threw
Yeah,
away a whole box of
several
pills a few
times.
days ago because I'm tired of having them, and I'm still getting them. I know there's a
That's
way to.
definitely an issue because it's like you go like on a bunch of different fronts,
Yeah,
not even just like mental health or whatever, but like it's just like throw drugs at the problem
yeah. I
instead of find
actually
out what's
Bob
the
helped me a while back when I was in an accident, and the VA wanted to give me back surgery, and I was like, okay, well they're saying I need back surgery, and Bob's like, hey, they're fucking there. So how long were you in there? I was like, I did an X-ray in 20 minutes. He goes, no, dude. You don't need a fucking surgery. You're 39 years old, and I worked through it with
stretch,
various
bro,
stretching.
stretch.
Started doing some yoga just for a bit, and you know, didn't have to
Did
go
it
through
help?
back surgery. Oh yeah, for sure. And I did a lot of things. I did for a while. I did chiropractor, and then I went to this place called Stretch Labs where they basically fold you in
Oh, you
fucking
told me
half.
about that. Yeah.
It's I went to go do a photo shoot at a grand opening for a cannabis a lounge here called the Cannabis. I forget what it's called. It was a while back, and they had different vendors there. And one of the vendors there was this girl that was had people on this like massage table, and my back was killing me. I'd been taking pictures all morning. I went to some event in the morning. I went to that deal, and this was shortly after my accident, like 3 or 4 months after my accident. My back was killing me, and the owner of this place is like, "Hey, go over there. You get you a free deal. It's on me because she was charging like $20 for a stretch deal." Anyway, she destroyed my fucking back, and
In
I
a
was
good
like, I
way?
think. at first I was like, oh man, this was a bad idea. But like 2 days later, I felt great, and I called her, and it just happens that her office is less than 2 miles from here. Um,
That's nice.
but yeah, you want to watch them doctors? They trying to get paid. All of them. They're part of this whole
Mm,
fucking system. Lauren, I have to. We've had at least we've had right now we're still at 6 people, but we had a good amount at one point. I think we had 12. I don't know who they all are unless they said something. So we got people listening, and they were all on every platform that we have on here on Twitch. Most of
thank you
them on the YouTube,
guys
and then on my
for
Facebook
joining.
page. So I got to do some trial tomorrow, but Lauren and I will figure out what we're gonna do, and we might have individual conversations. We kind of talked about that earlier. So, Joe, thanks for your commentary and for helping us out with stuff, man. We appreciate you, and we'll hopefully have you back on at some point. And then everyone else that's here, thank you all. I said I got to get some sleep. I'm gonna wake up about 5, so it's in 5 hours. So, Lauren, do you have any? I'll let you close it out. Do you have any closing remarks?
I was just gonna say, Joe, do some stretching, do some yoga. I know that sounds silly, but like literally, that's the best thing is
Absolutely,
stretching.
absolutely.
So, I just want to say thank you to everyone who came in and participated, and even those who didn't participate, because we appreciate the support. Like I said at the beginning, I can be blunt, and I'm gonna say some things that not everyone agrees with. Um, so I know the haters are gonna be coming, but I'm gonna be here still talking about it.
This episode didn't need a lot of. There's going to be because it is 3.5 hours. I do have to shorten it a bit, but because
You
this
could
went
probably just like
well,
break it up, right?
but yeah, but and because it went well, it's going to be easy. So I'm going to load this up onto my editing deal tonight. I'm going to mess with it in the morning, and then once I put this in, the other one should be out tomorrow by noon already, automatically, and then
The first
this
one?
one. Yeah, and then this one will be
Okay.
shortly after that, and then like I said, we'll figure out what we're gonna do. So, all right, Lauren. Well, let's
Thanks.